Ooh. Are we live?
Hi guys!
I think we're live. Hi guys! How are you?
See?
Give us a thumbs up if we're live.
I think we are.
All right.
Are we live?
Are you? I don't think so. It says that we're live.
Oh, there we go.
Are we
We're
live
live.
now? Yay!
Hi guys!
Hi!
We're back.
Yes! All right, first of all,
First step of order.
let's cheers
Cheers.
to this monumental occasion. Finally, we're back.
All right, cheers. We
Yes,
did
we
it,
did it.
Ariel.
Mm.
This, for everybody who's wondering, these are martini glasses, but this is actually just energy drink with grapes. So if anybody wants to know.
But it's so delicious. So delicious. So we have had a crazy day today. The weather has been really, really nice. And I have made the mistake of opening the window and preparing, getting in drag with the open window, and I did not realize how bad my allergies are going to get. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my nose is going to be runny. I'll be doing a lot of this today.
Allergy
Worth it.
is in
Yes.
full force.
Full force.
Full force.
It's not the chibi, it's just allergies.
Not mischievy.
Exactly, yes.
Well, I want to say, first of all, thank you everybody who has been sending us good vibes, praying for us, for our doggies. It has been a roller coaster, emotional ride with our babies.
It's been really, really difficult. So really huge thank you, because it really made our, it just made this time easier to get all of your messages and support and just encouragement. And I think we felt so bad and guilty for, not being on top of things and not coming out and with videos, and we promised to be out every Friday, and we felt incredibly guilty. So it really helped getting your guys' messages.
I adjusted the lighting a little bit. I hope it's a little bit better. I feel like it's really bright right now because the sun is out, the smoke is away, and so it's a really nice fall weather right now.
Yeah.
So it's been really, really nice.
It's been really, really nice. Just lots of allergies. And yeah, so we want to give you guys an update, obviously, about the dogs. Thank you so much, everyone, for asking. Basically, as you guys know, we have two dogs. One of them is a 14-year-old that we rescued about 6 months ago. And the other one is a 17-year-old dog that we've had for about 17 years. I got him when he was 4 months old. And so it's really hard because now that our dog is 17, he's at this age where he's starting to have a lot of good, bad days, and then he'll have good days again and bad days. But normally when he'll have a bad day, it'll be like 1 day, maybe 2 days, and then he's back on track for quite a while.
Yeah.
This last time was extremely scary because he was really bad, worse than he's been up until now. Would not eat, would not drink. Just you could tell he's in pain, barely moving, barely walking. It was horrible. It was heartbreaking to watch him. And what was different about this time, because we have pain medication for him to help him. What was different this time was that it lasted for multiple days in a row. It just didn't seem like he was getting better. And the pain medication would normally help for an entire day. This time would only help for a few hours at a time. And so we took him to the vet.
It just seems like we're at the vet quite often.
Yeah,
actually.
the vet at this point, we're like this. We're like besties.
With their doctor.
But we took him to the vet, and basically he does have a growth that he's already had for the past few years. It seemed benign, but it's growing. And basically we came to the realization and the conclusion with the help of our vet, who basically said, look, he might have cancer. In order to know, we have to do a lot of blood tests. Now, if he does have cancer, given his age, there's really not much that we'll be able to do. So if he does have cancer and we decide to treat it, we might be able to extend his life by maybe 6 months, but it'll be a very painful 6 months because he'll have a lot of treatment that he'll have to go through. And so is it really worth it to torture him so that we can have him for a little bit longer time? No, so that was one option. If he doesn't have it, then obviously everything is great. But even if we do the test and he has it, there's really not much that we could do. And so the vet basically said, you guys have to decide if you even want to know whether he has something or not, because once you know, you might treat him differently, and he might pick up on you treating him differently and completely change the way that he is, and he might all of a sudden realize, he might not even realize that he has something wrong with him, and just by us treating him differently, he might realize and get even sicker.
Yeah.
So luckily,
yeah, it's been an emotional roller coaster ride. Both of our babies have issues. Our 14-year-old, she has heart murmur and liver issues, and then he has potentially cancer, and it's what happens when you get old, basically, the conclusion is. So, thank you guys for your patience and being there and supporting us, but we're here.
We made it.
We made it.
And we made
Hi,
it.
guys.
And our dog is doing better. I want to put it out there. He's doing so much better. Actually, just a couple of hours ago, he was, running around the apartment. My sister came over to walk him, and he was so excited to see her. He was running around, so that made us feel really, really good. And so thank you guys so much. We obviously, we realize he's 17, we get it, he's old, and we don't want, we're not asking for much. Basically, the fact that he's 17,
we just want him to live to 100. I mean,
why
is that so much to ask?
Exactly. I was going to say, maybe just get another 1 or 2 years with him. That would be great. Yeah. 5 years would be wonderful. 10 years, that's all we want.
Just 10 years.
17,
yeah.
Let him be 27.
Yeah. Actually, I think you need to move over a little bit to give me a little
more space.
Yeah, just a little bit. Not that I need you to.
So that has been the update with our dog, and so unfortunately, the last couple of times that we tried to film, he was just really not doing well. And the first time when we canceled, we literally, we were in full-on makeup and we had to cancel, showered and took him to the vet. We just kind of had to make that decision.
Yeah.
So, doing much better. My sister offered to help us, which is beyond gracious, and we just love her because she's literally comes over to walk him and then leaves. So it's super incredible that we have such an amazing support system, including you guys. Yeah. So thank you.
So who do we have here? Let's see. Yeah. We have Ed. Hi, Ed. Hi, Elizabeth, Liz, Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Ting. I'm so glad you were able to make it and join us.
Ting and Cocktails.
Cocktails and Consoles. Hi.
And David. Hi, everyone.
Thank you for letting us know about the lighting consoles. Cocktails and Consoles.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit more?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Better?
Yeah.
All right. And Ed, to answer your question that you asked before we went live, yes, we have noticed an uptick in the subscriber count. So thank you incredibly much for doing what you're doing. And I have to tell you, I think what's happening is, what we've noticed is our subscribers will go up. Now before, we would get like 1 to maybe 2 or 3 a day, maybe 5 a day, whatever. But basically what we've noticed, for every subscriber that we would get, we would then...
Hi, 75 Skittles.
Hi. For every subscriber that we would get, we would then lose 1 or 2 sometimes even more. So we know we're being monitored. We know we're being shadow banned. The proof and the receipts are there. There's so many screenshots that we took. So we know it's there. But luckily what's happened, because of your specific help, Ed, so huge thank you, Ed. Like really, really, really thank you. What happened is you've increased it from, from us getting 1 to 5 a day to, now we're getting maybe 20, maybe 15. And so what happens is we'll get, 10, 15, 20, and then we'll lose, 5 to 10. So we're still,
Yeah.
and then Ed Plus, which is
But
really
thank you
amazing.
so much, Ed. Really, really appreciate
Yeah.
it. You spreading the word, telling everybody about us. It's really, really amazing. Very, very grateful for it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And we feel like a broken record having to like talk about this all the time. It's just obviously very frustrating because we still get like emails or like DMs on a daily basis of people being like, "Oh, I thought I subscribed, then I didn't see you."
You were just talking to your friend the other day.
Oh yeah,
And
literally.
and you were talking about it, and then she went on. She's like, I don't know what happened. I've been unsubscribed from your channel. Like, she went into her account. She's like, what is happening?
She actually called me to see, and this was this was a couple of weeks ago, like literally before we canceled our last live. She called me a couple of days before that, and she said, you know, "Oh, how are you guys doing? Haven't seen your videos in so long. Have you guys taken a break?" And we're like, "Actually, no. We've been going live. We've been releasing more videos than normal." And she went to see, and then she got unsubscribed. And this is one of my closest best friends. So that really just kind of
Elizabeth, YouTube shindigs. That's
shenanigans.
Exactly. Shenanigans. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
So I just want to say, like, thank you. We don't want to like keep harping on it. We don't want to keep talking about it. It's just, we don't know. Like I said, we do get a lot of messages and emails. So and even our friends. So we just want to address it. Please check every once in a while and see just to make sure that you guys are still subscribed. Because you might be surprised. So let's see. So basically, well, we'll let Ed answer to the people that asked him what he did. We just really appreciate all of all of you, and everyone who shares, and just anyone who helps us, because this is the way we see this. As you guys know, we're not the most socially active people on social media. On social media. And so even though we read everything, and I think we say this over and over again, we read everything, but we're not always so active. And so what happens is
we don't post a lot on social media. Like we're not active on like Twitter or on Instagram. We just
it's just this is why we went live, because we're able to like have this. This feels like a one-on-one, right? Like with all of you guys, it literally feels like a one-on-one. And so what it is for us, when we started doing our podcasts, we really viewed them as almost like legacy pieces for Trump, because we feel like when all is said and done, whether he wins.
Hi, Alina.
Oh, hi, Alina. Hi. Good to see you. So with all of the, whether he wins or loses, no matter what happens, one thing we do know, he's done so many things, and he talks about it very much, very often. And he says, I've done so much in the last 3.5 years, more than Joe Biden has done in 47 years. And the thing is, it's literally true. I mean, he's done so much to help people. Obviously, Joe Biden has done a lot as well. Some of it has been helpful. A lot of it has not been helpful. And so by us doing our podcast, I feel like that's kind of a way for hopefully however many people to go and listen and, have these pieces for, to remember him by as a legacy piece for him, for everything that he's done.
Yeah, because each one of these podcasts, we do the research, we go through all of the documentation, and really go step by step exactly what he has done. So each one of these podcasts is literally designed around each minority, and then we go into detail with that. So, whatever happens with the election, these are actual,
And by the way, just a little plug, because our last podcast didn't do as well in terms of the views compared to the other podcasts, but it was actually my favorite podcast that we've done.
It was, yeah. It was your favorite to film.
It was my favorite to film, or to record. Yeah. It was so good, and it specifically talked about what Trump has done for women. And when I started doing this, obviously there's a lot that I already knew when it comes to the tax cuts and the benefits that it had for women, and obviously there's a lot of policies that he's done that benefited women directly, even though the policies were not aimed at benefiting women directly. They just kind of indirectly got benefited from it. But what I found out later by doing all this research is that he's actually accomplished and has done so much, and not just for women in the U.S., but literally globally for
Yeah.
women all over the world.
Oh yeah.
And so that is something that is probably going to have an immense impact for generations to come. And thanks to the things that he's done, if he gets to continue this in the next 4 years, or if Biden pulls this off and ends up winning, hopefully he will continue some of the policies that Trump has done, because he is literally, we talked a lot about what Trump has done for minorities, and most of it is concentrated in the U.S. What he's done for women here in the U.S. but around the world has been monumental and life-changing. Some of the things that he's done and the way that they're helping people. And you could see
Triumphant
it on the
Wolf.
ground.
Right now we're talking about our podcast, and we're talking about what Trump has done for women.
Oh, but he's asking what are we talking about today?
We'll get into that in a minute. We'll see what we're talking about today. David, if you haven't seen, we have our martini glasses. We don't have our big giant lemonade glass today because all of that lemonade, it took us like over a week and a half to finish drinking the rest
Yeah,
of
it was a little.
So we're like, we can't do
You
that.
gotta do it.
Can't do that again. This is just an energy drink and grapes inside, for those who are wondering. And of course, if anybody else brought their snacks or drinks to the podcast, I'd love to know what you guys have.
Yes, tell us. And by the way, Triumphant Wolf, we'll definitely talk about the debate.
Yes, that's one of the things we're definitely talking about.
So normally I write, you guys know I write a lot of Post-it notes. This time I just wrote index cards. This time, thank you. I literally wrote like pages of comments. I'm not gonna like read through them, so don't worry. I'm not gonna like bore anyone.
Yes, Elena, get your martini glass out.
Get your martini glass out, and get your fabulous cheeses out as well. Oh, I love it. Smoothies, glasses, appletini. Oh, you made an appletini for the podcast. Oh, I love it.
Oh, I love
Love
it.
Love
I
that.
love it,
Oh.
Lynn.
Yes, beer and pistachios. You guys are all really cool.
I love
we should
it.
Do, we should do a mukbang or something. Or you
Yeah.
know what? One of these days,
Yeah.
I want to do something kind of like a Zoom or something where we can like all see each other.
I love that idea.
Literally, I want us all to kind of see each other and just everyone eating their own snacks and
Yeah,
it'd be
love
so
this
much
idea.
fun.
Yes.
It'll be so much fun.
Yes, love this. Okay, so before we jump into anything, I just wanted to, for all of the people who are wondering what we're going to talk about it today, we have a lot to cover because we haven't gone live the past couple of Fridays. So one of the things that we're going to talk about is the VP debate. We're going to touch over that real quickly. We're also going to talk about the town halls, the presidential debate, and also talk about Sudan.
Yes, well, just peace deals in general.
Yeah.
Okay, so this president, I remember this so well, right? I was, during the primaries, I can't say I was really excited about Trump. I was really excited about the idea of Trump, of an outsider. I was really excited about the idea of, an outsider coming in and draining the swamp and, and again, I talk about this over and over again where I say, 3 people basically had more to lose by running for president than to win. And, it was Ronald Reagan, Mitt Romney, and Trump, basically. Those are the only 3 people throughout America's history that ran for president where they had more to lose than they did to win for various reasons.
Yeah.
So I believed in Trump's intentions from the get-go. And, again, I've been following him. I'm a big fan of him. He wasn't necessarily my first choice right away. As the primaries went on, I really, really realized how much I respect him and appreciate him and really liked him. But I didn't know how he was going to do as president. Mm-hmm. Fast forward, during the first 12 months of his presidency, it was really disappointing and very worrying because you realized that he hasn't done much, right? Like it seemed like Republicans are not really doing much. And the one big thing that they promised to do, they weren't able to do, which is repeal Obamacare. And then came the tax cuts, the big and massive tax cuts that changed everything.
Hi, Justin.
Hi, Justin.
Thank you for joining us.
Made it. So happy we were able to make it. So yeah, then came the tax cuts, and the tax cuts changed everything because it was like a propeller. All of a sudden you realize that even though they weren't able to accomplish a lot of things during the first year, and they weren't able to repeal Obamacare, they were able to repeal the worst part of Obamacare, which is the individual mandate, which was part of the taxes, which is very impressive to be able to do that through legislation as opposed to the courts. And since then, it's literally just been one thing after another, and it's just been incredible to watch and see.
Yeah.
And that is part of the reason why our economy was so strong. That's part of the reason why so many people felt better about their lives, whether they loved Trump or not, whether they attributed their own successes to Trump.
Yeah.
Most people in the U.S. actually felt really good about where they were compared to, under the previous administration.
Yeah, and I want to say something to that, and addressing what you just said is, and I think that's exactly why now with coronavirus, the economy is able to bounce back so quickly. Is because he didn't just go in there doing all these temporary fix. He actually went in there and doing fundamental fix that will last long term. And I think that's why the economy is able to bounce back so quickly, even due to coronavirus.
Oh,
and
absolutely,
all of these
yeah.
states being shut down still.
Well, I think the economy. So, and this has also a multitude of an effect, right? Because on the one hand, the economy was able to bounce back much faster because we don't have as many regulations.
Oh, I'm
A
sorry
lot
to
of
cut
the,
you off. I like what Christopher said. He said he's made more money in the last 4 years than he has in his life.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad that you made more money than you have in your entire life in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
You're not the only one. Like,
Yeah.
this is not a special thing.
Yeah. A lot of
a
people
lot of people,
have seen growth. Yeah.
including Black community, which is just
Yeah.
amazing, right? We talk about this so much, but
Yeah.
the Black community was able to is literally making more money than they've ever made before. Unfortunately, not now under Chivi, but
Miss Chivi.
Miss Chivi, yeah. For people who are joining us and are new, Miss Chivi is
Our code word.
Our code word
Which
for
I've
what's-
actually been saying it a couple times now. I think. Yeah.
no, I don't think you've said. have you?
For the pandemic.
So yeah, it's been amazing, I think, for so many people, which is why so many people also felt so good about themselves. And Gallup, in terms of people's satisfaction with their own personal lives, up until the pandemic, Gallup had the highest numbers for people of personal satisfaction, which is, I think, it's just incredible. It's really, really incredible. So, for me, I'm just so excited, and I'm seeing now, and what he's been able to do in less than 4 years.
Yeah.
It's just incredible because he's not only changed the US, he's changed the globe, and I just really hope that we're able to continue in this direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
Fingers crossed. Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Okay.
Okay.
So first thing, let's talk about the VP debate.
Okay, yes. We'll get through it really quickly because there, obviously
a lot that we've missed, a lot that we haven't
yeah.
talked about, but we definitely want to address it. And I just want to start off with the VP debate, and I just want to say that honestly, that was the debate that I was looking forward to. Out of all of the debates, the VP debate was the most important one. And the reason why is because who knows what's going to happen with Biden, what's going to happen with Trump. There's a lot of health issues, old, whatever. Things could happen. And so I really wanted to see what the potential vice president and the current vice president have to say. I think that was the most important thing. And to be honest with you, I was very, very, very impressed with Pence. Very impressed with him.
So impressive.
So impressed.
Okay, so I'm gonna just quick. We're not gonna talk about any points about the VP debate because it's been so long ago. But I just want to say this: after the Trump Biden debate, the first one that drew in almost, it was the third most watched debate with 74 million people, I think it was, or 78, whatever it was, 72. But after that debate, I think a lot of Trump supporters, conservatives, Republicans, even a lot of independents were kind of disappointed about what they saw in terms of the debate performance. Now, I said at the time, I think Trump had to do it. Even though it looked really bad, he had to do something that was wild and crazy, and to show that he's a fighter, and he did. And I think it's really incredible. And actually, the fact that he was even diagnosed with Chivi the next day or the day after the debate, and now we know that he might have possibly had it during the actual debate, just really shows what kind of a you know, an incredible human being he is. I mean,
powerhouse.
The powerhouse. I mean, being sick and you know, this is just incredible.
How old is he again? I forgot how old.
He is 74 now, I think, right?
I mean, that's really impressive to be, you know, in your 70s and still, you know, still doing what
it's
he's
just
doing.
incredible.
It's really impressive.
But obviously, it left a lot of a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, and people said that was it. This is going to be, you know, his undone. And then he got sick, and that made things even worse. Fast forward to the VP debate, and this is literally, this made me so happy. That was quite literally, and I have seen a lot of debates. I love debating myself. It's a passion of mine.
Very much so.
Yeah. So, you know, I love it. I've seen so many different debates. That was quite literally the best debate I think I have ever watched, listened to, seen, heard. It was mind-blowing. And from my perspective, this is going to be one of those debates that's literally going to be studied for years to come. When people are going to be doing their prep work for debating, when people are going to be doing their prep for debating, they're going to be watching for Mike Pence and what he did to Kamala Harris. Because that wasn't winning a debate.
No.
That was literally criminal.
Yeah.
He murdered her. I mean, that was pure... like unadulterated, that was murder, like a savage, brutal murder where he just like, just slowly like just tortured her. It was incredible. I mean, it was literally, as I was watching it, I was like cheering. I mean, getting
it was great.
It was so great. The guy is so talented on a multitude of levels. I could totally see why Trump picked him. Beside him being an incredibly loyal and incredible vice president, I mean, he's really doing an incredible, fabulous job. His ability to not let the moderators steamroll him, which is something that they've tried to do to him last election as well, and as well something that they do to Trump, and really every time the media, you know, the debate moderators, they really don't like to let Trump or Pence talk and answer a lot of questions, and so Pence just did it in a masterful way where he was able to circumvent whatever the moderators had to say, whatever Kamala had to say, and he was able to get his points across and answer the questions that he was asked at the same time. And when he wasn't allowed to answer a question, he actually took it upon himself to go back and answer or rebuff whatever Kamala had to say, and then answer the question, the following question that he was asked. It was done in such a masterful way. And for all the people who say, you know, Kamala won, and obviously you watched it, and I think, you know, in the mainstream media it showed Kamala won, and obviously a lot of my liberal friends, you know, thought that she won.
I really don't see how, honestly. I really don't.
There's basically two possibilities for people to be able to see that she won, from the way I see it. Number one is if you're part of the mainstream media, in which case it doesn't matter what they do. I mean, Mike Pence could literally, you know, Jesus could come down from the, you know, from the sky and say, Mike Pence, you are now anointed, and the mainstream media will just completely ignore it and not care. And of course, if you are like a hardcore liberal, progressive, because I think even if you're a Democrat, you know, you want to see your candidate win, and maybe you'll even say that she did, but deep down, I think a lot of people, you know, there was not even. It was brutal, savage. I mean, he literally murdered her with the kindest, most beautiful smile I've ever seen. It was so impressive on so many levels. And he didn't let her lie. He didn't let her get away with things. And the things that were huge weaknesses for the Trump campaign, you know, the Chivi, you know, immigration, a lot of things that are viewed negatively, you know, when it comes to Trump and these subjects, Mike Pence was actually able to turn it around and turn it against Kamala. And you could see she was so flustered. He got under her skin. She didn't know what she was doing. I'm not done speaking. Yeah, I'm not done. Not done yet. Let me speak. It was amazing. I mean, really, really amazing. So,
excuse me, I'm talking. That's right, Ting.
Yeah. And I like it. Justin, I completely agree. She's so condescending, and I think people that watched it really noticed it. And this is something that's really interesting, right? Because we've had this with Hillary Clinton. We've had this with Tim Kaine, her VP candidate. Same thing with Biden. Same thing with Kamala. They start off really likable. The more people get to know them, the less they like them, right? When Kamala ran and when she was debating during the primaries, you know, she had this big bump. The more she talked, the less people liked her. Same thing with this. The reason why she was picked for VP is not because of her, you know, legislative history or accomplishments, because they're not. And a lot of what she's done has actually been has had a very negative impact on many communities. But the Biden campaign knew that A, the media is going to hide all of this, and no one's going to be asking her any questions about her record as a California prosecutor and what she's done. And the only person that really asked questions was Tulsi Gabbard during the Democratic debates.
Which was phenomenal, if anybody saw that.
Phenomenal. You know, they knew that the media is not going to ask these questions. But what Camila does have, she has race. Two very important races. Despite the fact that Trump may not be very popular among minorities, his popularity is growing hugely among both the Black community, Hispanic community, and really most minority communities. But he was extremely popular among the Indian community. And I'm not talking about Indian American community, I'm talking about Indian American community.
No, not Native American.
Yeah, not Native American. Yeah. And he was very popular. People really appreciated him. And you guys all remember the 50,000 people when him and Prime Minister of India, Modi, spoke in front of all the people, and people cheered. And you know, people love Trump in India, and a lot of Indians do. By picking her, and she's half Indian, it's just trying to collect, you know, votes. And unfortunately, it did work, because the last statistics I read said that about 72% of Indian Americans plan to vote for the Biden-Harris ticket, partly because they want to see, you know, one of their own in the Oval Office. Can't blame them. However, it is very sad, because that's a very growing segment of our population that is going to be crucial in the next few elections cycles, for sure.
Yeah.
So that was the VP debate, and I feel like that was the first step in the beginning of the turnaround for the Trump campaign.
Yeah,
it changed the conversation and changed people's perspective on everything.
Definitely agree. I think he was very presidential. I mean, honestly, after hearing him speak and the way he addressed things, I wouldn't mind having President Pence. Not at all.
No, not at all. I really, really hope that I don't think he's gonna run. I just don't think he.
I don't think it's in his nature.
Yeah, I don't think it's in his nature. I don't think he wants it.
Yeah.
But I would.
I'm sure after seeing everything they've done to Trump, I'm sure he doesn't want to go through the same thing.
Absolutely, but that was incredible. And for people who watched it, you know, when you're seeing, you know, side by side, hey, you know, here's this old decrepit guy, and I mean Biden, right? And he's going to be in the Oval Office, and if anything happens, then Camila's going to be president.
Right, exactly.
And, you know, here you had Trump, who, you know, even though he's older, by no means is he decrepit, because the amount of energy and enthusiasm that he shows is outstanding. But at the time, he did get Chivi.
Right.
So
a lot of people were concerned.
A lot of people were concerned. And so for a lot of people asking what's going to happen if one of them, you know, goes, that was a very clear difference, a stark difference between the two. And I think Pence just came out so highly on top, and he was able to turn around, you know, the negatives that they had on Corona. He was able to turn around and flip it onto Camila and Biden, and she was not able to recover. And he was able to do that on that. He was able to do it on the conversation about vaccination. There's so many things. It was so impressive. So I'm really hoping that a lot of you got to see it, because it's literally, I think that future politicians, and I think that future debaters, you know, people who are going to be debating, you know, as a sport, professionally, whatever, I think people are literally going to be studying this specific debate to see the kind of just mental, you know, the mental circles that he ran around her, and she's a very smart woman.
Triumphant Wolf, the reason why we're saying Chivi is that's our code word for the pandemic. YouTube censors us, so we have asked you guys for a new fun word, and that's what we came up with.
Yeah, unfortunately we get shadow banned, and also there's certain words that you can't say too often, and one of them is the big word starting with a C. You cannot say the big word starting with a V, right? CV. So because then you get tagged basically, and you get censored, and it happened to us multiple times, and it's just such a pain, because, you know, then we won't be able to upload this video, and it's just
there's so much you have to go through. And I just want to say, everybody who's just joining us now, thank you so much for joining us. If you guys have your drinks and your snacks, we definitely have our drinks and our snacks. So just take a little moment.
Cheers, everyone.
And I also want to say thank
So
you,
good.
everybody who is giving us a thumbs up for this video and liking this video and sharing the word.
It
out
really
there.
helps our channel. Thank you, guys.
It really does.
Yeah. So that was the VP debate. Yes.
Yeah, in a
Okay.
nutshell, yeah.
Yeah. If any of you has anything else to add to this, please do, because that was really fascinating, and I was so incredibly disappointed that we couldn't talk about it, because I literally, I mean, I was literally like, like smoke was coming out of my paper and pen. 'Cause
We have
I
a
was
whole
just-
bunch of notes that we wanted to talk about it, but it's kind of old news now, so we just wanted to do a little recap on it. Those who are just joining us, recap we're doing is on the VP debate, town halls, and then we're going to talk about the presidential debate that was last night.
Yes, and also we're going to talk about Michael Savage and Rush Limbaugh. Thank you, David, for...
Cheers to everyone. Everybody's
Bring it
giving
up.
us cheers.
Cheers! Thank you! It's so fun that we're able to do this together.
Yeah, I love the whole Zoom idea that you have. I think that's great.
Yeah, we'll have
that's
to
fun.
figure this out and do it somehow. So this is kind of our, I think after the election, when things settle down, we will definitely make something kind of like that happen. Because I think it'll be really fun, just to see everyone, and you know, and you can obviously, everyone will be able to join us, and you know, you can have your camera on or off, but it'll be fun to just even talk in person, right? I'll be able to hear. I'd love to hear your voices, and you know. So, and it's really fun because a lot of times after we do these lives, we'll go back, you know, assuming YouTube doesn't delete the comments, we'll go back and we'll read all of the comments in the chat.
It's too hard to read all of them and talk
at the same time,
all at the same time.
So we try, right? We try, and we really try to like, you know, we try to have this like engagement and everything. But then we'll go back and you know we'll read and be like, oh, that was such a great comment. I wish, you know, I wish I could have said something to that, or I wish I could have responded, or I wish I could have said thank you to this person, or you know, whatever. So it'll be fun to be able to actually say thank you like in the moment. So yeah, so that was the VP debate, which was just...
Yeah, to cap it off, Sherry, you're right, Mike was on fire. Mike Pence was on fire.
Yes, literally.
Yeah, I was very, very proud of him. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I would not mind a Pence 2024.
By the way, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But does anyone else think that this fly was planned? Right? I mean, like, come on. I felt like he was doing so well, and then the fly had to, and the second I saw the fly on his head, I was like, that's all people are going to talk about. No one's going to talk about anything else. No one's going to care. Oh my God!
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you so much.
Yes, let's do a Zoom.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
That would be so much fun. So much fun. So I'm so grateful to be here with you guys today and be able to talk to you about this. Yes. Okay, I know when they said that QAnon was more dangerous than Antifa, it's a joke. The fact that they let them get away with saying Antifa is an idea, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, because Antifa literally has training classes on how to go and stalk people, how to go and ambush them. They openly talk about violence, so... You know, it's outrageous and ridiculous. So absolutely outrageous and ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we even had to take down a video about, I don't even want to say
we had to take
the A word.
Yes.
That's another thing that we're flagged on as well.
We did a whole video about this, and we had to take it down, which was just so sad and very, very disappointing for us, obviously. But yes, I agree. I think it was absolute offensive to say that Antifa was an idea. And the thing is, I think that a lot of Americans also get it. I think that a lot of Americans are seeing this, and what we're hearing from the mainstream media, and this is something that's really interesting. So after each debate, I go online and I start reading people's comments, and I'm trying to see like what people think and what people say, and basically what people think and say versus what the pundits and
the
professionals in the
media.
media on TV say are two completely different things.
Yeah.
So every time that they show that Trump loses the debate, you go online and and you look at the different polls and you see something completely different.
Yeah.
And I think the Telemundo poll was
Yeah.
very, very telling from the first presidential debate.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, following the VP, you go and you see the town halls, which that actually really made me nervous too, because after the town halls, what I found out that the ratings for the town halls were actually very interesting, because Biden got higher ratings than Trump did, which was very surprising, because we all know that Trump is normally a powerhouse when it comes to ratings. So that made me very nervous, because I realized if more people are watching his town hall, it also means that people are more enthusiastic about him. Because my assumption was that the people who are watching the town halls are probably the people that support him, and they just want to see him do well. What I've realized now is that most likely the people that watch the town halls, maybe they're not necessarily undecided. Maybe they're going to vote for Biden anyways, but they want to learn about his policies. They want to know what he's going to do, what he's going to say. And watching both town halls, one thing is very, very clear. On the one hand, you have Trump that answers every question head on, and sometimes gives a lot of specifics, sometimes not a lot. And on the other hand, you have Biden, who literally gives zero specifics, zero answers about anything, talks in very general terms, and basically says, if you want to know my positions, elect me, and then I'll tell you the following day after I'm elected. Which is ridiculous, because that's basically what Pelosi told us about the Affordable Healthcare Act. We have to pass it to know what's in it, which is outrageous, because now that we've passed it, we know what's in it. It's a terrible bill, and it's impossible to undo it fully now. The same thing with Biden. They know that whatever their positions are, they're not popular with the American people. So instead of talking about it, just hey, elect me on goodwill and good faith, and
fighting for the soul of America.
Yeah, fighting for the soul of America. It's just it's a joke. It's really outrageous, and I think people are waking up and they're seeing this. I think people are finally.
I hope so.
Seeing this.
I hope so. I really wonder. I really wonder. I mean, basically, we have a week, a little bit more than a week until the election, right? I really wonder if any of this really makes a huge difference. If any of it really makes a difference in changing people's opinions on who they're going to vote for, or if everybody's already decided and basically we're just playing it out. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think that people already know that they're already decided, or do you really think there's undecided people?
I genuinely think there's undecided people. I just don't think there's that many.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think there's undecided people. Now, the thing is, if there's 4% undecideds, which is what people are saying now, I think after the first debate there was 6 before, and now there's maybe 4. That 4% is what is going to make or break the election. That's what makes the difference. And I don't know if you guys remember the words of...
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Kristen. Hi. So glad you were able to join us. And so I don't know if you guys remember the... in 2012, Mitt Romney said something along the lines of you have 47% who are going to vote for a Republican, 47% who are going to vote for a Democrat, and basically everyone's really fighting for that 6%. Those are the people that really matter. And he actually got a lot of flack for it. It really hurt him as well.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie. Hi. But I think he was right in the sense that, majority of people, 47, maybe 46%, in today's world, since we're even more divided than we were before, all of us are in our own camps, maybe it's closer to 48%. And so it does make sense that about 46% are going to be undecided. And I don't think it's because of Trump or Biden. I just think we're so divided now. Everything is so partisan that we're all stuck in our camps. And, our camps are about, 44, probably percent in each direction, which leaves, people in the middle. So,
Caitlin, I like your comment. So you weren't for Trump, and now you support Trump. That is very cool.
Wow.
I mean,
wow, Caitlin.
We don't have the time to talk about it now, but I would love to know what happened, why you
Yeah.
weren't, why you are now. I'm very fascinated.
Please write us and let us know what it was. We're so fascinated.
By the way, hi Caitlin.
Hi, yeah. And you could do it. You could do it in the chat and let us know. You could write a comment.
Yeah,
You could send us a private message.
Yeah, email, whatever. We would love.
houseofdemaj@gmail.com.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
We
would
just
love
want
to
to
know.
know. It's just so fascinating. What made you wake up? It's
Yeah.
just I'm really fascinated to know. Because we want more people to wake up, and so if there was something specific that helped and made you wake up, we want to be able to help promote it, push it, talk about it.
No pressure or anything. You
Yeah.
have to
If you don't feel like it, you really don't have to. I mean, this is.
And also, too, another question that I saw that I want to address before we move on is, I think it was Triumphant Wolf was asking us if we saw the Trump rallies and the Walk Away rally. They were asking about that. Yeah, we follow the rallies, and I think it's amazing that they're still happening. I think it's amazing that he went back out there like right after being in the hospital, and he just like hit the campaign trail.
I mean, is there anything this president cannot do? I mean, can we just have a moment and just be honest and real? Is there something that he cannot do? I mean, for crying out loud. They were talking about, Chibi as though it's this, terrible, terrible pandemic, which it is, obviously. 220,000 people died. It's absolutely terrible. And they're saying they died on his watch. But what's interesting is, here's a guy that is at the, highest risk. He's overweight, considered obese, by medical standards, which his suit does him justice by hiding it all. But he's overweight, considered obese. I think he might be diabetic or pre-diabetic or, diabetes light, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, the guy is incredible. He's running out there like he's a 20-year-old without a care in the world.
He has more energy
fighting.
than me.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, really amazing. And by the way, speaking of the the 220,000 number, what people don't realize is that the majority of these numbers come from liberal states, New York and California, that literally forced people to go into facilities with other people in risk. So if you're old, you were put in another facility. If you're old and you have the Chivi, you're put in another facility with a bunch of other old people that did not have it, that are at a very high risk of dying, and they were put in with them. And of course, these other people got it, and they passed away as well. And so what happened is you saw these crazy numbers from New York, from California, where people were just dying by the herds because of the policies that these liberal states put in place. But because we're talking about numbers in terms of a national number and not a state-by-state number, it makes Trump look bad. But in reality, the vast majority of the people that died came from blue states that literally put people's lives in danger. And it's nice now that, Governor Cuomo says, well, we made mistakes and we didn't know much about, this with Chivi at first. And so we thought we were doing the right thing. And now we're doing the wrong thing. And now once we found out, we changed it, and, now we're doing the right thing. And the thing is, I get it. It really sucks. We really didn't know much about it. Mistakes were made. Yes, we're able to move past it, and thank God we're able to rectify some of it.
Yeah. Well, I think the best possible example that you can look at this is Israel, because Israel was the first country, it was the role model of all of the countries to look at of how to handle the situation. Everyone looked towards Israel for this, and then they had to shut down the country again.
Yeah,
because they had it. So even if they followed all of the rules, they still are going to have problems. So.
And I think this is something that Trump really made very clear during the debate. And I don't know if you guys saw the 60 Minutes that he released. I'm so glad he released that video. That was incredible.
Gothics, hi. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Gothics. So exciting. There's so many new people. This is really fun. Thank you for joining us, you guys. So yeah, I mean, basically, all these countries that already had the closures, unfortunately, it obviously didn't help, because now we're seeing Israel was the first country to have a second shutdown. Europe is now having a second shutdown.
Yeah.
It costs the economies a lot of money, and people are literally dying. And
when they say, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you
Yeah,
off. When they say that there is a drug problem now, depression, and the issues because of the shutdown, That is so true.
Elizabeth, oh my
Aw,
goodness,
thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. It's no joke. I mean, we see it here in California with the shutdown. People are getting more depressed. There is a bigger drug problem now because of it. It's real. It's real, and we really do see it here living in Northern California.
So here's what's interesting. My mom is a nurse. We have a lot of doctor friends. And what a lot of them say, basically, that when a person dies of a heart attack, when a person dies of old age, when a person dies of anything, it doesn't matter what it is, if they happen to have the HIV, then officially they are required to put down that the cause of death was HIV. Even though they might have died from a completely different, affliction, the official reason for death is HIV. The reason why they do this is because for each death, they get a lot of money. Now, for each person that went on a respirator, breathing machine, that later, in some cases, turned out to be actually hurting people than helping them. It turned out that for a majority of people that were put on breathing machines, at the beginning, it actually did more harm to them because they were put in too early. But the reason why doctors were pushing it is because you get different amounts of money for different treatment. So if you're putting a patient in a breathing machine, whether they need it or not, you get X amount of money, like 6,000 or 7,000. If someone dies of HIV, you get like 12,000. There's so many different layers to this.
Financial incentives.
And so a lot of people, literally died not needing to die because either they were put in a facility that they didn't need to be on or given treatment that were not supposed to get. So that's part of the reason why we have these large numbers.
Oh, Ting, thank you for your comment. You see that firsthand.
Thank you, Ting.
Being a nurse yourself. I forgot, Ting, what state are you in? Just out of curiosity. I can't remember if you're in California or if you're on the East Coast. But I would love to know what state you're in just out of curiosity.
Ed, and you're totally right. Basically, so I don't know what it is in every state.
Washington, Seattle.
Oh.
Okay.
We love Washington, Seattle. Well, we love Washington, and we love Seattle.
The whole Pacific Northwest. Yeah. It's really our...
It's really our... It's
not
really
politically, but the nature. We love the nature.
We love the nature.
Yeah, and the weather, and we love overcast days,
So yeah, here we go. We actually have a person working in a hospital that says they're doing the same thing because they're incentivized. And the numbers I heard were like $12,000 or $13,000 per CV patient, Ed. So I don't know if that's nationally or just state by state. But basically, what?
Hi, realities.
Hi, realities. Yay, so fun.
So many new people.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
So excited to see so many new people.
Yes.
And again, thank you guys so much for giving us a thumbs up for this video and showing your support.
It really, really, really does make a difference. So we really appreciate it so much. And yeah, so I think my whole point of talking about this, the numbers of the deaths and everything else, is basically to say mistakes were made. Now, if Governor Cuomo can basically say, look, mistakes were made, we learned, we're moving on, and the media is not pestering him over the deaths that he oversaw in his own state, and they're saying, okay, these mistakes were made, you rectified them, you corrected them. Well, Trump has done the same thing. The mistakes that were made under the Trump administration are literally the same mistakes that were made every single other country except New Zealand. And the reason why New Zealand was different, A, was because, yes, they shut down relatively early. But B, the other thing that New Zealand did is New Zealand is a country of about 4.5 million people. That's it. It's a massive, very vast land, very, very vast land. The majority of the populations are located in 2 cities. But part of the reason why they have such a small number of people who were infected, A, they shut down early, which was really smart of New Zealand to do. But B, it has a very small population.
Yeah.
Just straight up, very, very small population. But what we're seeing in the US, and this is why I think it's so important for people to understand. So I read that right up until, I think it was September or August. I don't remember if it was up until August 31st. I think it was August 31st or up until September 1st, whatever. in 2020, there has been over 300,000 more deaths than average, meaning every year we get an average amount of deaths. In 2020, we saw 300,000 more deaths than what the average year sees. Now, at the time that this was released, like I said, I read this early September. I think it had the numbers up until August 31st. At the time, you had less than 200,000 people that died from HIV. So if you have less than 200,000 people that died, but more than 300,000 people, think of how many people died due to drug-related issues as a result of the shutdowns, suicide, right? So many indirect reasons for people to die. How many people lost their livelihood, became homeless, God forbid, or something, and then died? I mean, it's just... So, when they say that the cure cannot be worse than, the problem, I really, really believe it. And especially when we're talking about these, inflated numbers, right? Because today it's 220, out of those numbers, the people who actually died from HIV, it's much less, probably less than even 100K, realistically. And so, but you have over 300,000 people that died. And at this point, it's probably even more. What I'm trying to say is that I think we're actually causing more harm with the shutdowns that we're doing than good, and I think that's a real problem that, people don't want to talk about, they don't want to acknowledge, because then it's going to help our president. So,
Well, that was not even one of our topics that we were going to
talk about. That was not even one of our topics, but I thank you for hearing me out.
Okay, so let's get into the main topic of today, and let's talk about the presidential debate that happened last night.
Yes, okay, absolutely, because that was...
Before we even start, I want to ask everybody who is with us right now, who actually watched it, start to finish, the whole entire thing, watched the whole entire debate. Hi, Miriam.
Hi, Miriam. Yay, so glad you joined us. Thank you.
So, Justin, you saw it. Who else? Just give us a thumbs up or say me. I want to know who watched the whole entire presidential debate last night.
Yeah, the presidential debate, and I want to know who you think won. Obviously,
oh, that would be another fun thing. Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of you here are on the Trump train, but try to be as objective as possible and tell us who you think won. I obviously have my my thoughts on the subject. Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of you guys did. Okay, Charlie Brown. Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. Oh, how cool.
So you saw half of the debate.
The first half or the second half?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, can we talk? Can we go into it? Okay.
Let's get into it.
So we were very excited to watch it.
Yes.
We were really worried about...
Especially since this is the last one. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the last one. We were really worried about the potential shit show that it could have become.
Yeah.
I mean, really. And, first of all, let me say this. I truly and genuinely did not think that Trump had it in him to be as presidential as he was.
Really?
I really did not think he had it in him.
Okay.
Now, having said that, I want to say I love Trump, and part of the reason why I really like him is because he is not presidential, right? Mm-hmm. He's not my guru, he's not my rabbi, he's not my friend, he's not, we don't kicky, we don't know each other.
You don't go to the bar and have a beer.
We don't go to the bar and have a beer. I like him because the policies that he does help me, and they help the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And, part of the reason why I think they help me and the rest of the country is because he's not presidential, he's not a politician. So he knows what the people want. And he really gets down and dirty with the public. He goes and talks to them, and, it does things that most politicians don't do. Politicians will talk to people, but it'll be very, very rehearsed. And Trump is not like that.
No.
So he knows what the people need, what they want. And so, him not being presidential didn't bother me so much, but I know it bothered a lot of people. Yeah. And I think a lot of people were truly shocked by his demeanor, his responses. I mean, he clearly prepped for the debate, which I think is shocking, knowing him. And he actually gave a lot of substance. Mm-hmm. He gave specifics, not as much as I'm sure a lot of people would have hoped. But when you compare it to Biden, that literally gave zero specifics. I mean, zero. specifics. Not one thing. The only specifics that he said is, when I'm going to be president, I'm going to encourage people to wear masks. Thank you. I think that's kind of a given. That's an obvious. That was it. That's literally the only specific that he gave when he was asked, "What are you going to do regarding Chibi?" And he said, "I'm going to push people to wear masks, social distance, basically, literally everything that this current administration already does." He has zero new ideas, zero. So I thought that was absolutely fascinating to see. From that perspective, to see Trump actually give so much detail and so much substance in his answers. The other thing that I thought was incredible is that Trump clearly took a page out of Mike Pence's book from the VP debate.
Yes.
And
I really think so. Yes.
Yes. He has turned the page around. And this is what's so brilliant.
Yeah.
When it comes to Chibi, there's nothing that they can do, the Trump administration, to be looked at positively.
Hi, V. Parker.
Hi, V. Parker. So glad you were able to join us.
And also to Bro. I cannot say.
Bro Monroe.
Your comment of saying that you watched it with a bunch of your friends and your liberal friends, and they thought that
Yes!
Trump won.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually something we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. We're going to talk about how undecided we were listening to a group.
Do you guys know Frank Klontz, right? He did a lot of focus groups for CNN a few years ago. Then he started doing it for Fox News. I think now he does it for Bloomberg. But what's interesting is he does it for Bloomberg, and then or he's interviewed by Bloomberg. I don't know if he actually does the focus group for Bloomberg, but we watch it on YouTube through LA Times, and his focus groups are always really fascinating. He's a pro. He's an expert. He's very anti-Trump. Does not like him at all. So if you watch him and if you've heard his commentary, you know that he does not like him. But his questions when it comes to dealing with focus groups are really, really good because he doesn't lead anyone on. He's usually right. I think last night we saw maybe one question where he was trying to lead people to answer a certain way that he wanted them to answer. But aside from that, that's really that's an outlier. He's very, very good. Asks really great questions. And so that was one of the, I think, really interesting, and I really recommend for people to watch his focus groups.
Yeah, it was really, really great. And to see people who were for Biden before and after this debate, now they're more pro-Trump. I mean, basically, I think most people who were undecided are leaning more towards Trump now because of the debate, because they saw him being presidential.
Yes, and I love KW's comment, the fact that, it's just so great. I think
3 hours to watch. we actually do the same thing as well.
I want to say, I think it took us about 3.5 hours to watch.
We stop it and take notes.
Take notes and write and talk, and it was so good. It was really, really, really good.
I will say, though, 100% honesty, I thought the beginning half was a little boring.
Yes. Yeah.
A little dry, kind of wanted a little bit more. But then the second half, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Really, really amazing.
And so here's the thing. This is why I think it was boring. Because how many times could you be asked the same questions over and over again? Literally every single debate, it's the same. Every single interview, every single debate, what about your failures with, Chibi? Yeah. What about your failures with Chibi?
Ed, you're so right. Biden was losing steam at the end. That's actually
okay.
You were saying.
So Ed, I don't think he was losing steam. I think his medication was wearing off. He is on medication. It's very, very obvious. I think for a lot of people who are in the medical field who follow Biden, know that he's giving some kind of, he's giving adrenaline shots, whatever. And I think in the last debate, he was giving so much. I think he was pumped so much, and I think. Now that he's out of the basement, so to speak, and is doing, because I think they're realizing that, even their internal polling is probably showing them the race much closer than what they expected. And so now that he's out and about more often, doing more interviews and, doing whatever, campaign rallies with, 12 people or whatever, basically, I think he can't have as many adrenaline shots. It's just not good for you. And so I think they have to be really careful with what they do. And I think what happened is he literally just ran out. That's it.
Yeah.
Towards the end, it's not just that he ran out of steam. You could literally, you could see it in his eyes.
Yeah,
you know,
could see it in his eyes,
it's so focused, and then they become watery and
Yeah.
just kind of, you know, the
Yeah.
old Biden where, you
Yeah.
know, it just seemed like, you know, he still knew where he was, so that's a big plus. But yeah, I think if that debate was, you know, even half an hour more, maybe an hour more, I think we would have seen
Yeah.
Biden unravel
Yeah.
so quickly.
Yeah.
So quickly.
That would have been fun to see.
So yeah, okay. So the first half was kind of boring, partly because it was the same questions. You know, the CV, Chivi,
Yeah.
same
yes,
questions.
Same thing. Same
You know,
topic.
and it's just, I think what angered me so much is right before the debate, I was really looking forward to hearing about foreign policy. Because we didn't really have foreign policy in the first debate, and we didn't
Yeah.
really have foreign policy in this debate.
Yeah.
And we didn't really have foreign policy in the vice presidential debate.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. How can we not have foreign policy when literally the US just oversaw 3 different peace deals in a span of a month? I mean, that does not happen
Yeah.
ever. Ever. 3 separate peace deals in the span of a month, and no one wants to talk about it?
No.
No one, not one question about the peace deal between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. What about the peace deal between Israel and Bahrain? What about the peace deal between Kosovo and Serbia?
Yeah.
Forget the Middle East.
Yeah.
And now, today, we're finding out, or actually I should say yesterday, we found out that Sudan is going to announce formal ties with Israel in a peace deal. Mind you, Sudan, up until recently, was the largest sponsor of terrorism, overtaken now by Iran. But Sudan, who bin Laden literally came from Sudan, that's where he had his original training, in Sudan. Sudan, that was Israel's arch nemesis for many, many years, absolutely refused to even recognize its existence. Sudan, that held the Palestinian cause at such a high regard, is now not only are they, you know, they went from being the #1 sponsors for terrorism, and when I say sponsors for terrorism, I don't mean sponsors like Iran is, where they pay a lot of money. I mean they had training camps in their country. I mean, you know, horrific training camps. The things that they did are insane, and now not only are they going to be not only are they taken out of the list of states who sponsor terror, they're now actually announcing that they're going to have formal relationships and peace with Israel. That's incredible. And that's incredible for many reasons. Number 1, all the reasons that I already named. Number 2, because it's no longer just the Middle East. This is now a country that is in Africa. You know, this is now spreading literally worldwide. Yeah. This is why it's so incredible. And do you guys remember at the very, very beginning when Trump did, you know, the travel ban, and people were saying, oh, xenophobic, Muslim ban, blah, 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 even though it was not a Muslim ban, because there are other countries that were part of it that had nothing, that, you know, did not have a Muslim population, but whatever. And Trump at the time said, you know, people said this is going to hurt our relationship with the Arab world. This is going to create all these, you know, issues. And Trump at the time said, I have, you know, these leaders are calling me and saying, hey, what you're doing is right. You know, they're saying we have an internal problem with this, and you're actually taking care of this. And obviously, a lot of people laughed and thought he's lying. Today, we know he was saying the truth clearly, because now everyone is literally standing in line to make peace with Israel. It's not just those countries. There's going to be many, many other countries. And I think if Trump gets a second term, and I really, really, really hope he does. I think if Trump gets a second term, we're literally going to see a wave that we've already seen.
Yeah.
But that wave is going to turn into a tsunami of diplomacy and peace across the region.
I love how all the liberals were chanting, though, we're going to go into a World War III. Trump's going to cause World War III. Well, here you go.
Yes.
It's just a whole bunch of peace. And, you know, he's been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, three different times. And I think it was Trump Wolf who brought it up that point. Funny enough, Biden has also been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize as well. So I think that's...
Was it? Oh, I didn't know that.
Biden?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no, that's right. He was nominated. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, he was nominated by a UK member of parliament.
Yes, for, I don't even really
actually,
know.
it was really funny. He was nominated for a Peace Prize. See, I forgot about it because it's that inconsequential. It's that ridiculous that it wasn't even like worth it to remember, because basically, what was it? He was nominated.
For, like, because he's sending good vibes out there. For
Yeah, I mean, literally, it was basically sending good JoJo to people for keeping the discourse and keeping the discourse positive, something like this, and promoting positivity around the world. And this is what people, I think, really gets me, right? Like, you have people like Biden and Obama that say all the right things, yet do all the wrong things, right? Biden talks about how he's with the Black community and cares about them. Yet, finally, yesterday, and I think this is to Trump's credit, he pushed Biden so hard on mandatory sentencing that finally Biden had to say that was a mistake. And I truly wish that Trump at the time said, you should take this opportunity to apologize to people for what you've done, because you put in tens of thousands of people in jail. So I wish Trump actually said, I'm giving you the opportunity to apologize. You can use my time to apologize. I think that would have been a knockout. But again, saying all the right things, doing all the wrong things. And the same thing with, in the Middle East. You had Obama, who was literally going on an apology tour, starting with Egypt and then going to Saudi Arabia and, kneeling in front of the crown prince. I mean, something that other presidents have not done. And that gave us nothing besides more chaos in the Middle East, besides more bloodshed, more civil wars. And here we have Trump that people said will bring the end of the end of the world is going to come because of him.
3.
Oh, Julie!
Thank you, Julie.
Oh my God! Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, thank you. It really means a lot to us.
It really
thank
does.
You.
So we really appreciate it, Julie.
People say that, but we really love hearing that. So when you say like you love what we're doing, it really keeps us going.
It really does mean a lot to us. It really, really, really does.
So thank you. But yeah, so I think when people are, when you see just everything that is happening, it's just so incredible, because I really think if Trump doesn't get a Nobel Peace Prize, which he probably will not.
Probably will not.
We already know that the prize itself means nothing. After Obama got it, that was just like a ridiculous joke, So, it's just fascinating to see, when he moved the embassy to Jerusalem, people said, that's it, this is going to create World War III, destabilize the region. And instead, what it did, it literally brought everyone together. And everyone is standing in line to make peace. He took the Palestinian issue off the table. As a matter of fact, he didn't take the Palestinian issue off the table. Palestinians took the Palestinian issue off the table by refusing to even have any contact with them. So, what Trump did is short of a miracle, literally a miracle. And I think he said at the time, that will be the toughest negotiation of my life. I don't know if I can do it. Hopefully I can. He wasn't able to bring peace between Israel and Palestine because they're just straight up not interested in it. They just don't want to do peace with Israel because they don't want to see Israel on the map. But he was able to do all these other wonderful and great things. And now we know that Morocco wants to do peace. They're in talks. Saudi Arabia is waiting to do it.
Just fixing Ariel's wig. I see your wig is like falling. Here, turn.
Oh, it's falling apart a little. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I see these like.
I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but there's all these little strands of hair.
If anybody's worn wigs, it gets really itchy.
Yeah.
And really hot.
So it does. So basically, I could talk about this issue forever and ever and ever. Yeah. That's not what we were going to talk about today, but
I think it's a really good point because I think it was I can't remember who it was. I think it was Kristen or maybe Ting said that the second debate they always talk about foreign policy, and they didn't.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why they didn't, because Trump would have completely annihilated Biden when it comes to foreign policy.
Basically, think about the questions that were asked, right? We were asked about foreign interference, again. We were asked about Chivi, once again. We were asked about race, again. Literally, all the topics that we've already discussed and covered in the first debate, literally, it's just a repeat. The only thing that changed is that, Trump, he just, he was a boss. He came to slay, not to play.
Yeah.
He literally did an incredible job. And none of the, even the questions that were asked, the way that they were asked, right? We're asking about the race, and people are saying, well, Trump, in your administration, we're seeing all this violence and all these, protests and anarchy, and, are you responsible for it? And what I find incredibly interesting is that, you know, the Biden campaign and Biden and Camila and Democrats in general talk about, you know, this race issue and systemic racism. Here's the thing, you know, I know a lot of conservatives don't like to admit it and say systemic racism doesn't exist. Ben Shapiro has, he really approaches this issue remarkably well when he discusses systemic racism, and he says it doesn't exist, and he gives a really well thought out argument for it. Having said that, I actually think that systemic racism does exist to some extent, to some degree. But what's interesting is that the people who are responsible for the systemic racism are Democrats. So all these questions we're asking Trump, you know, what are you going to do differently? Don't you feel that you're responsible for everything that's happening? Why is Biden not being asked? This systemic racism happened because of this 3 strikes law. It happened because of mandatory sentencing that Biden authored. He was literally the author of a bill that opened the floodgates for systemic racism that put tens of thousands of black men in prison, created a huge fatherless home issue for, you know, for, I don't know if millions, but definitely for, you know, thousands and thousands of children, and really millions of people with the policies that they were pushing. So, you know, why is that not asked? That's what I'm having a really hard time with. Okay, fine, you want to talk about racism? Let's talk about the root cause of racism. Let's talk about the root issue of racism and who's responsible for it.
Yeah, but going along with that, I mean, Trump did call out Biden. It was like, who built the cages, Joe?
That was
Who built
such
the cages,
an amazing
Joe?
moment. And so here's the thing. Part of the reason why I even started talking about this like whole Chivi thing is when it comes to Chivi and when it comes to immigration, there's really nothing that Trump or Pence can say to turn, you know, the conversation around where, you know, they're going to be viewed positively. No matter what's going to happen in these specific topics, Trump, his administration are going to be viewed negatively by the public when it comes to Chivi and when it comes to immigration. What they needed to do, essentially, is what they did with Hillary Clinton, is they needed to say, hey, you don't trust us on this issue? Fine. Don't trust them either. And I think in that sense, both Pence and Trump did an incredible job. Because what they did is they took whatever kind of public support that you know, the Biden campaign had when it comes to, you know, being more able to deal with the pandemic, you know, being more able to deal more with immigration reform, all of these things that Biden enjoys, you know, double, practically triple-digit support over Trump. What they needed to do is take that support away. Because if you're able to take that support away, you're making people less enthusiastic about these candidates. If they're less enthusiastic, they're less likely to vote. It really sucks, you know, that's the game that is being played, but that's the game that's being played. And, you know, again, Democrats are doing the same thing to Republicans. That's why we have this, like, Russia hoax, you know, over and over and over again, that, you know, obviously now we know that all of it was a big lie, a complete fabrication. And now that we know this, you know, it doesn't matter, because what it did is it sowed doubt in people with Trump. And it sowed doubt where it mattered. And they're doing the same thing with race. And so Trump had to do the same thing, and he had to flip the tables. And he did. And he did a really incredible job in doing so. And I think just like the emails with Hillary Clinton in 2016, they came late. I think now, you know, the emails with Hunter Biden, you know, and flipping the script on coronavirus. And I really liked what Pence said to Camila at the time. And he said, you know, basically when she was criticizing the Trump administration, he flipped it and said, I really don't like it when you criticize the American public. That's amazing. She wasn't even talking about the American public, but he made that correlation of criticizing the administration of their handling of the pandemic is basically saying that people were not doing their jobs in order to stay safe. That was very brilliant, brilliantly done and brilliantly said. And Trump basically continued the same line. And I think he did an incredible job basically to muddy the waters and say, hey, I might have messed up here, but if I did, it would have been even worse with this guy. And now I think enough people have doubts in their mind to really, really believe it. And I think that's really incredible that he was able to do so. And the same thing with the cages. You know, who built the cages, Joe? Who built the cages? That is it. And that was brilliant. Not letting him get away with it. And what was great, who built the cages? Who built the cages? And then let him answer. Something that he didn't do last time. So, and because he let him answer, and because he was so much more presidential and demure, if you will, people that watched it realized that Biden literally has zero substance.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of people who watched this, and a lot of independents who, or undeciders who didn't know who to vote for, I think after this debate, are more likely to vote for Trump now. He flipped the script, and it's amazing that it's a third debate. Because what they saw is they know already the president's policies, but what they saw is a president who's defending his policies, given really, really great reasons for why he's doing what he's doing, and given specifics to a certain degree on how he's going to accomplish what he wants to accomplish the next 4 years. Whereas Biden literally said nothing of substance, not one thing besides, I'm going to ask people to wear masks. Which is ridiculous.
Oh,
April! Oh my goodness!
Sending love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Sending
for your
love to you. Thank you. Oh.
Thank you, April.
We really appreciate it. Thank you. So so basically, this is something that I think Trump was able to do just masterfully as well this time. And so as much as I didn't think he had it in him, I am just now I'm so impressed with this person. I mean, it's beyond. I mean, really, really beyond.
Yeah.
He is so impressive with what he's able to do. And so I thought he was able to turn, the whole conversation of Chivi around. He was able to turn the whole conversation with immigration around. And I was so happy that he brought up the point of the, coyotes and the, the child smuggling and everything that was happening. Because I want to know how many children were not reunited under the Obama administration. And with all due respect, there's literally, hundreds of thousands of people trying to cross our borders usually on a yearly basis. 500 kids, that's a lot of children. There shouldn't even be one child, obviously, that is separated from his parents. But the reality is those numbers are relatively low when you're talking about, comparisons in terms of how many children were actually went through the system compared to how many children are separated from their parents. And the other question is, if they're separated from their parents, why are they separated from their parents? And Trump really did a fabulous job of talking about child smuggling, crossing the borders illegally, and all of these things.
It's funny what Ed wrote about.
Let's see, Ed wrote, a Democrat politician in Georgia really thought coyotes meant four-legged animal dragon. Oh, that's hilarious, Gabriel. Yes, that's hilarious. Oh my goodness! Realities in perspective. Holla if you need modest help with tech.
We will be contacting you.
We will.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Actually, can we
Yes.
take a moment and thank everyone who's offered us help with tech? Because
thank you so much, you guys. We definitely need it.
We really, really need it. Basically, to be honest with you, we were a little overwhelmed because our goal was to do lives. We wanted to come out with lives and a lot of videos right before the election. That was our goal, to do every week and to, to really push it so hard. And then unfortunately, whatever happened with our dog happened. And, it took a step back. And so we're just grateful for you guys. So grateful for offering the help. So grateful for your, encouragement and
support
and tips, just monetary support,
everything.
Just everything. I mean, it just warms our heart to such a level. It's just hard to explain. It's hard to put into words. Thank you, and I'm sorry if we're being like too much. Like, thank you. It just thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I thought that was absolutely incredible. I'm not even looking at my notes. I have like pages, but I just thought that was really incredible that he did that. That made me so happy. It was such a good moment too, and I think anyone with a brain larger than the size of a peanut will know that Trump won that debate. If you're not a hardcore progressive or Democrat or liberal,
and
you know
anything that the orange man does is bad.
Right. If you're not everything that the orange man does is bad, you know he won that debate, and it wasn't even close. And that was incredible because it showed people that Trump can be presidential. And here's another moment that I absolutely loved was when when they were talking about when they were talking about passing whatever. I think it was whatever. I think it was that they were talking about. But basically, Trump asked them, "Why didn't you do it, Joe? Why didn't you do it?" And he said, "Well, we had a Republican Congress." Really? So Trump has a Democratic Congress now. Is it really, would it be fair then for Trump to say, hey, I can't pass anything because I have a Democratic Congress? And I really loved what Trump responded with, well, you at least have to try. You at least have to talk to them. And this is where the negotiation comes in, right? This is exactly what we're talking about and what Trump is talking about. He has a super hateful, literally hateful and, full of animosity Congress towards the president.
Oh, thank you,
Cher. Thank you so much. Sharing is caring, and you two are sharing the most important thing, information to keep our freedoms. Thank you so much, Cher. Really,
Yes.
thank you. Oh,
And
that
Cher,
means a lot.
I just have to say thank you for like showing your support. Like I feel like you're like always there every live that we do. You're always there and showing support. I really, really appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely. It's really amazing because I mean, a few of you are literally just constantly telling us like,
Yeah.
all these like good and positive reinforcement. And I don't know, it's really strange, right? Because we've never met. Sometimes we could see your photos on YouTube sometimes, but we've never met. We don't really know each other, but we like literally at this point, you guys are like friends,
Yeah.
like real
Yeah.
literal friends. And I think in today's world where everything is becoming so digitalized,
Yeah.
it really means a lot.
Yeah.
It means so much.
It really does.
So yeah. And Miriam, to your point regarding someone saying there's no won or lost, win or lose will be on voting day. That's an interesting point. The thing is, you're right. Win or lose is on voting day. The win or lose, regarding each step, town hall, debates, whatever these things are, they just give us a momentary snapshot of where we are, in this time.
In that moment.
In that moment.
Yeah.
And it also changes the conversation.
Yeah.
Right? Because now people that watched it, whether they listen to, CNN or MSNBC or ABC or, CBS, all of these networks that say, that Biden won and Biden did so much better, I think a lot of people, some people, are not much we could do, not the smartest, not the sharpest tools in the shed, they'll buy it, they'll, listen to it, believe it. But I think what makes it so interesting is that people are watching this and they're seeing a concerted effort.
Oh, Justin.
Thank you so much.
So much love
Thank
from
you,
everybody.
Justin. This group that shows up every week gives me hope for the future. Thank you both for keeping this going.
Good.
Justin, thank you so much for showing up and thank you for coming too. And thank you for...
I hope the unpacking is going well.
Yeah. Thank you for not giving up on us when we, in the last couple of weeks. That's something that we really appreciate and really are gonna, this is something that we're gonna remember. Like we went through this like trying time and when you're so isolated during a pandemic and during, the shutdown here in California, this is what helped us.
Yeah.
And, we're...
And we hope, and we really hope that this helps you guys as well. And from your guys' interaction, it I think it shows that it really does help everybody.
Which is what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
This is like our goal is to
build a
like
community.
help and do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys are making this happen like for us and with us. And yeah, thank you. So this is kind of incredible.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi, Hannah. Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, this is this has been really just incredible from the perspective. Oh, and back to Miriam's point. By the way, I want to say besides giving us a snapshot of where we are in the in the race today, it also gives us. It allows people to have a momentum. And what happens is people are watching this and they're seeing all these pundits
Giving them hope.
and all these people saying, Biden won, Biden did better, blah, 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 blah. And I think people are seeing this and they're feeling like they're being lied to. They're being cheated. Like they're, they're trying to pull a rug over their heads or something.
Yeah.
Just to, and I think people are actually going to vote for Trump because of the media doing this. Because they're seeing something, a concerted effort by this elite group, trying to silence and literally change reality. Right? Like literally change reality. And a lot of people are watching this and they're like, are we watching the same debate? Like, is this the same thing?
Yeah.
So, this really makes a big, difference. So in that sense, I think it really, really helped. I think it really, really helped Trump as well.
Interesting. She does a follow-up with...
I think the Facebook was because he knew Biden lost and wanted to skip over it. Oh, Miriam, I completely agree. And I think a lot of people, who are on the other side are saying this. Yeah. And I think what's interesting also regarding, both debates, I think a lot of Trump supporters were mortified, with the first debate.
Yeah.
But they were able to call it and they were able to say, hey, he lost. Or in my case, I was able to say, look, this wasn't pretty, but he did what he had to do. Mm-hmm. And I think today, yesterday he did what he had to do again. Yeah. But it's interesting. You're right. I think a lot of people on the left, when they're not doing as well, they want to gloss over things, ignore them, sweep them under the rug.
Yeah.
And it exists on both sides, but I just don't think it exists as much in big numbers as on the right.
Yeah.
Basically. So yeah, that I think was really, really, really fascinating. I absolutely loved it. The other thing that drives me...
Elizabeth, you're so true. The media does not report the news anymore. They just control it. They control the narrative.
Yes, and Elizabeth, if you saw the 60-minute interview that Trump released, it was...
I want to, just before I start cutting you off, I want to know, has anybody seen the 60-minute Trump interview? Very curious to see. He released it. If you guys know what it's about, love to see who's watched it, who's listened to it. So
Hi, real life, Roland.
A quick little, let us know. Not yet. Okay, Justin hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, we talked about so much, Justin. Justin hasn't seen it. Sorry, we talked about so much, real life, Roland. So I'm so glad you're able to join us, though. At least for this part.
Yes.
Really, really glad.
Okay, so it looks like a lot of people have not.
You guys have not seen it. Okay, really, really recommend it. Really, really recommend it. I am sure you could find it on YouTube probably. I found it on Real Clear Politics, realclearpolitics.com. If you go to their video section, it'll be there. I think he released it a couple of days ago. It was really great because basically, again, it really shows, the face of the media when he's asking the host of 60 Minutes and he's telling her, why are you not asking Biden the same questions? I saw the interview with Biden. Yeah. Why is that so easy for him?
Well, let people know about the history of what happened for those who don't know about the 60-minute. Basically, Trump did a 60-minute interview days before the actual debate. So this was already done before. He walked out of the interview because... Well, I'll let you get into that. But he walked out of the interview, and since he walked out of the interview, he actually released...
Basically, he walked out of the interview because it was just not... It was going nowhere. Literally going nowhere. It's very clear that no one's interested in talking about anything.
Ariana. Hi, Ariana.
Hi, Ariana.
You did see it, and yeah, the lady
Thank
was very
you.
disrespectful.
Yes.
She kept arguing with him about the facts.
And I think... So this is what's...
Oh, thank you,
V. Parker. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Thank you. Love your content and appreciate your perspectives. I'm grateful that I found you via Walk Away.
Oh, good.
We're so grateful you found us. And thank you.
Thank you, V. Parker.
So much. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually, I'm really grateful that you were able to find us. I don't know what happened. I know there was a moment where Zane's video kind of blew up. I mean, at the very beginning when she released it, it blew up. And when I say blew up, it got to like 5,000 views, in a span of like a very short period of time. And then it went from like, hundreds or
I released a video in September 2018. Basically, Brandon came out with his walkway video, I think in May. I was really inspired by it, the walkway movement. I tried to start filming it in like July, but didn't come out with it until September. And then when I came out with September, it like blew up a little bit, and then it was suppressed.
Yeah, and then it was suppressed.
And then all of a sudden, I think it was in July of this year, it had a second wave of people watching it.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened, but it was suppressed, and then we got this like crazy wave of people watching it, and it really helped. And then I think it got suppressed again. So it's really, really interesting. And again, YouTube has, and other social media, they have a way of doing things, and maybe we'll talk about it, at some point in detail of how and why they do it. But anyways.
That's for another.
Yeah, regarding Ed, I want to tell you, yes, your post definitely helped people learn about us. Your post with Brendan Straka during the LGBT debate definitely helped people learn about us, because like we said at the beginning, there was a point where we were getting like between 100 and 150 subscribers on a daily basis, and then it went from that to like zero,
completely
right?
dead.
In one day, like
no
literally
views,
zero,
like nothing, just
zero. We went from like 6,000 views a day to like like maybe 10 or 20 from our subscribers that we already had, and zero new subscribers. And then, still we kept pushing and, doing whatever we could do.
Yeah.
It started growing again. But what, as we mentioned earlier, we went from, getting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 subscribers a day. And then for each subscriber that we would gain, we would lose 1 or 2. Literally, we would gain 1, and then within a couple of minutes, it would go away. And so, we know that people were unsubscribed from our channel. YouTube was doing that.
Yeah.
And so with you, basically, I don't know the technicalities of how they're doing it, because I don't think it's manual. It could be, but I don't think it's manual. But literally, I think thanks to you, we're getting closer. We were getting closer to like 20 a day, and losing only 5 to 10 a day. So as a result, we were actually able to, even though we were losing 5 to 10, we were still able to grow. So what you did, literally, is very life-changing, altering, for us, and hopefully for the people who were able to find us as a result of what you were doing. So thank you, Ed. Like really, really thank you. Oh yes, Christine Sanders, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you for being you and speaking about things the media won't. Thank you so much. Yeah, oh my goodness. Yes.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you for actually like being okay with us talking about this, because I feel like we're mentioning this a lot.
Yeah.
But part of the reason why we're mentioning this is because literally, like I said, one of my best friends literally thought she subscribed, contacted me, and she's like, I haven't seen your videos. What's going on? And I'm like, we literally just released one yesterday, or 2 days ago, whatever. And she went on to check, and she was unsubscribed.
Yeah.
So that's why we're saying this.
It's a reality. It's a thing, and it's just basically, we just deal with it. It is what it is at this point.
Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
So yeah, it's very fascinating. Thank you guys. Oh God, this is so much fun. There's so much to talk about. Okay, I loved it when Trump brought up the emails. This is something that really drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Because at this point, the email story is 100% corroborated, unlike the Russia hoax that was never corroborated. And what I love the most now, listening to all these media outlets who are talking about. Listening to all these media outlets who are talking about, well, we have to do our research and we can't corroborate the story and blah, blah, blah. Actually, Biden Hunter's business partner at the time said, I can corroborate all of the story. Yeah. I can literally corroborate everything. I'm his business partner. I have the receipts, and he said I forwarded them to the FBI. So now the FBI has it. And the FBI has said they have the receipts. It's corroborated. It's there. All of this already happened. Yeah. Why in the world are the mainstream media not covering it in detail the way they did with the Russia hoax that was not corroborated?
Well, we already know why.
Do you guys remember the P-tape story, right? Of there being a P-tape of Trump that, turned out to be completely false? That was literally everywhere. Literally everywhere. So, this is just a joke that they're now trying to, we have standards, journalistic standards. Come on. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And so I'm just so grateful for Trump to bring it up and talk about this.
Hannah actually brings up a great point, saying the Biden family would have sued by now if these were false claims.
Hannah, you are so 100% right. And I have to say something too, which is really interesting. At no point did he deny anything that Trump was saying. He denied the $3.5 million in the first debate.
Right. Yeah.
But that was a lie. That was a lie. That was fact-checked. He received $3.5 million. He received them. Yeah. So he denied them. The media just let it slide, and fine. Not cool, but they let it slide. This time he didn't even deny that. He didn't deny anything else about this story as well. All he said is this was checked and there was no wrong doing found. Yeah. That's your defense? Is there was no wrongdoing found? I mean, come on. Like that's a real defense? He hasn't denied one thing. And what I love too is that, Trump called it out, and he was very careful about the way he called it out, because in the emails, it's very obvious that Hunter says, that the big guy is going to get 10% of the money. Big guy obviously referring to Biden. And there's other emails that show that, Biden is referred to as the big guy. But Trump was very smooth in the way that he did it. Mm-hmm. Shocking to say, Trump was smooth about this. But he said, I don't know, they called you the big guy. I don't know, maybe you were, maybe you weren't. I don't know if it was referring to you. But he just put it out there. And, at least he put it out there and got people to talk about. But that's, that is true and that is real. And I think people now, with all of these conversations that are now being being asked, and I don't know if you guys remember last time with the whole, Hillary Clinton email. Again, it was, well, this is Russia's doing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Let's say Russia did this. But did Hillary commit the crimes that were described in those emails, yes or no? Right? Russia might have released them, but is the content of the emails true? And that's something they refuse to answer, and the same thing is happening now. The content of the emails in Hunter Biden's computer are all corroborated, and no one wants to say, yes, they're true. They just want to talk about, another Russia conspiracy, another... Angela Parrish! Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Angela!
Angela, let's have a cheers.
Angela, this one's for you. I just want to read through her wish I could do more, but alas, unemployed. I hate having the same election anxiety as 2016, but I do. Angela, thank you so much. I mean, literally, the fact that you're unemployed and you just tipped us, that means the world. Literally, that means the world. I mean, you don't have to do this at all. You literally don't have to do this. And the fact that you're doing this...
Showing your support, yeah.
It means so much. I mean, it really, really does. So just massive thank you. Thank you. And this one's for you.
This is for everybody.
Thank you. And we hope that Trump's economy is going to help you find another job soon.
For those who are wondering who didn't hear me say before, this is our energy drink with grapes in the bottom of it. Kind of looks like olives, but it's just grapes.
Would you like some more?
Yes, actually.
Ooh.
See? And also too, I've seen our likes also go up as well. I want to thank everybody for giving us a thumbs up.
Thank you. Yes, definitely. All the new people that are joining, that are give us a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much, because we talked about this before, the whole shadow banning, whatever. It really helps when people comment, and when they comment in the comment section. The live was also great because we're having conversations and it's live, it's in the moment. But when people actually comment in the comment section and give us a thumbs up, it really, really helps. It pushes us out there as suggested videos, even if we're being shadow banned. Obviously, it can only do so much, but at least it helps us show up. And so just thank you. Yeah, big thank you. I loved it. I also loved the comment when Trump said, it's like you're like a vacuum cleaner. You're just like picking up money everywhere. I mean, it was just it was brilliant. It was really, really brilliantly
he was
done.
on. It was great.
He was so on. He was so great.
Really, really good.
And it also showed people that Trump can be presidential. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. If he can be presidential when he needs to be presidential, i.e., this was a do or die moment for him at the debate, and he was so on, so presidential. And if he can be presidential during this debate, right, it tells people, consciously and mostly subconsciously, that hey, if he was presidential then, he could be presidential at other times when it's needed. Mm-hmm. So when he's not being presidential, basically what yesterday's behavior showed was that when he's not being presidential, he is literally fighting for the every person. Yeah. Literally fighting for the every person. And when he does need to be presidential, when he's sitting with MBS of Saudi Arabia, MBZ of the United Arab Emirates, when he's sitting with leaders all over the world, he showed that he could be presidential and get what he needs to get done, and he did. And that is what's so impressive about this when it comes to him. So he's very presidential in terms of his actions, and frankly, the words and behavior, I guess they do matter to some extent, but they matter so much less than the actual. What is he doing? What is he actually doing? Is he helping me? And what's interesting is, and I think Trump actually mentioned this yesterday, or no, he didn't mention it yesterday. He mentioned it in the 60-minute video, that even during the pandemic, during Chibi, even during this time, the Gallup did a poll, and I think we talked about this too, actually, in one of the podcasts. Yeah. Gallup did a poll that basically showed that the majority of people still feel that they're better off today than they were 4 years ago. This is with all of the unemployment numbers and everything else. Yeah. So I think what they were able to do is they were able to basically neutralize the negative press and the negative attitudes and feelings towards this administration when it comes to the pandemic and when it comes to immigration. Mm-hmm. They were able to neutralize these negative effects, and what they were able to do is now bring into focus all the positives that are happening. All the, you know, remember when people said this is not going to be a V-shaped recovery? It's a very much V-shaped recovery.
Yes,
You know, they're
yes.
trying to call it a K-shaped recovery now,
Yeah.
but the numbers are just not there.
Yeah.
They're not there for
Yeah.
it to be a K-shaped recovery. It's a very much V-shaped recovery.
Yeah.
And I think people are realizing it now. And a lot of people who are unemployed or employed and are saying, hey, this can go really badly, you know,
Yeah.
one way or another. And I
Yeah.
really trust Trump to handle this. And so I may not like him very much, but what he did for me is so much better than what anyone else has done in recent history. So I think he did a great job. And that really, I think, if he's going to win, I think, you know, Pence's debate and this last debate with the last presidential debate, I think those things are really what's going to make the
Yeah.
biggest difference.
Yeah.
I really do. And like I said, I think
Yeah.
Pence was kind of the first, that was the first moment that
Yeah.
things really
It
started
was
turning around for the campaign.
Amazing. I just can't get over how amazing Pence was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he was just fantastic.
You know, and I mean, there's so much to talk about, obviously. And again, you know, we could talk about China, you know, and like we could talk about like there's so much to talk about that we can cover. But I think, you know, our goal is to just try to kind of, there's so much to talk about that I wanted to make it a little more general. I mean, usually, you know, and again, today I came prepared to have like pages and pages and pages of notes, but.
And this is not even like a quarter of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, Cher, did you say 53 people watching us? Wow, awesome. I didn't realize. Thank you, Cher. That's really exciting.
Very cool.
Wow, it is growing. Thank you. It's because of you guys. It's literally because of you. Because we know, like, we're not showing up in people's, we're not showing up, you know, for new people in their news feeds. We're not
Yeah.
showing up in the For You page.
Yeah.
What the,
Oh, thank you,
Christopher. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Keep up the smart work. More young people need to engage in this type of conversation. Trump 2020. So, Christopher, first of all, thank you so much. And second of all, this is what the most exciting thing is. Over the last 2 years, you know, we've been trying to figure out like YouTube and whatever, but our audience was mostly people 45 and older.
Yes.
Which, you know, we loved, and it makes sense because we really get along with older people anyways. But
also too shockingly, because we are drag queens. You know,
yeah, and we
after
are
all.
drag queens. Yeah.
And so for older people, not just older people, because you know older people and drag queens, but conservative older
Yeah,
people.
older Christians,
Christians and
evangelicals,
yes.
you know, older men, straight men, you know, women. I mean, it's just
so for them to come out and like support us in the very beginning was a shock, and also to like a very pleasant like surprise.
yeah, but also, I mean, shocking, surprising, but also like it says so much about them, right? Because
Yeah.
they were able to recognize something. They saw us, and I mean, at the time, if you go back and you watch our old videos, you can see we're not polished. We look, you know, terrible. The videos are really heavily edited because, you know, we
Yeah.
didn't know what we were doing.
I had no idea. We still don't know what we're doing.
We still don't know what we're doing. Yeah. But you know, we were trying. We were getting
Yeah.
the ball going, and you know, a lot of people saw it, and they. What was great is that they kind of, I guess, recognized it or saw it, and they wanted more young people to see it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they jumped on the bandwagon and really like helped us.
Yeah.
And what was really interesting was that literally in this year, very very recently, when we started, I think when we started with the podcasts.
Yes.
Actually, I think when we started with our very first podcast,
Yeah.
what Trump has done for the Black community,
Our demographics completely
Changed.
Yeah.
and it's so exciting because
Yeah.
now our highest demographic is 18 to 24-year-olds.
24 years. Yeah.
Our second highest demographic is 25 to 45-year-olds. No, I think it's 18 to 29-year-olds.
I don't remember.
As our highest demographic. The second is, you know, 30 to 45-year-olds.
Yeah.
And then it goes the older generation, 45 and above, and then it
Yeah.
goes to, you know, and then it goes to 15 to whatever, 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating because it's really cool because clearly it shows that young people are engaged, they're listening, they're interested in this. And so, you know, I think that's absolutely wonderful. And I think the funnest part is for us, you won't see it a lot in the
Oh, I love this. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. Hannah, this is your first voting this year.
Yay!
You're 19
Oh my
years
goodness.
old. This is your first year voting. Congratulations. I mean, that's great. And it's also like, yes.
Hannah, this is for you.
Yes.
This is for you. This is for bucking the trend of young people, usually not coming out and voting.
Yeah.
This is really cool. So
Congratulations.
cheers to you for being a young, smart woman who really cares about what's happening around her. Very, very cool. So, yeah, and I think what's really fun for us is we got a lot of messages on, which is really funny because we're not active on, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, but we'll get a lot of messages there. And what's really great is
a lot of private messages.
A lot of private messages. And it's really fun because a lot of them are from young people who literally say to us, hey, I didn't realize, this is why our state has, so many potholes.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I found you by mistake. I started listening to you because I thought you guys are ridiculous, for supporting Trump. And now, you've opened my eyes into something I had no idea before.
Yeah.
So, on a very small scale, we know we're making a difference. Unfortunately, we started really late, and obviously we can't make a difference, a large difference in this election. Mm-hmm. But I'm really hoping that at least for the midterm election of 2020, we'll be able to, have a bigger impact on, what's happening with the youth. And I'm really hoping that,
Just to open, to honestly, I mean, we had many different reasons why we started this, but one of the main reasons we started this is because we wanted to open up dialogue. We saw dialogue just completely being shut down, and we were not okay with that. We wanted to open it back up and talk to not only conservatives, but to liberals, and just really have an open platform. So we really hope that, we can get back to that as Americans.
I think what we've seen too, specifically, I mean, for me, I mentioned earlier, I love debating. It's like a sport. I just love it. And one of the things I really loved was, my friends being so highly educated. I mean, most of them are, Ivy League educated individuals, very smart, very, very, very smart, very intelligent, very liberal, very progressive. Bernie Sanders, AOC, have nothing on some of them. So, I loved debating because we couldn't be, more opposite from each other. And usually, during our, Friday night get-togethers, when we were younger, and during our debates and all that, it was literally like all of them against, me, because they're all so liberal and I'm so conservative. But it was fun. I mean, we were having fun with one another. Yeah. And what I've noticed is that it went from having so much fun to now, no one wants to talk anymore. Yeah. Basically, that's it. You don't agree with me. Let's not talk about politics. Let's not get into it. Blah 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 blah. They love me still. Super supportive. They're great friends. Nothing changed in terms of our relationship, but something happened in terms of the ability to talk about difficult issues. Yeah. Where people are scared to get into conflict. Whereas I used to love it because I feel like that's our greatest growth comes from conflict. What's happening is a lot of people have become adverse to conflict, and our goal was to create kind of a place where people can have a conversation, without really having the conflict that I might enjoy, but just like having a conversation openly, where everyone is welcome. And that's why the podcasts were actually created because of one of our viewers, Mrs. Droplet, who was she said, "What the hell are you talking about when you're saying he's done a lot for minorities?" Yeah. And we were like, "Boom, we'll tell you." Yeah. And so we did this entire, now I think we're episode 6. We have episode 7 to come out about what Trump has done for the LGBT community. Yeah. That's going to be our last kind of episode for
completing that series.
For the series, and then we'll move on to other things. And so, but yeah, we did it for her, and then we even commented on her comment and said, "Hey, here's what we've done. We're answering your question." And clearly she had no interest in having that dialogue, which was very sad, but it's nice to know that a lot of others do. We're getting a lot of young people who are having this dialogue, or saying, "Hey, I'm still going to vote for Biden. I still don't like Trump, but, I respect, it's really interesting because you've opened my eyes. At least I'm realizing he's not the monster I thought he was. I don't agree with his policies, but he's not the monster I originally thought it was." Yeah. So that's the goal. That's what we're doing. And I really hope that what we're doing here, eventually is going to be like a legacy piece for Trump. I really, really hope so.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's going to be a lot of those. Obviously there'll be books and, maybe some documentaries done. But I think for most people who are going to be, looking for stuff on YouTube, there's not going to be a lot of pro Trump and a lot of like truth and honesty about the last 3 years.
Just talking about the facts. Just the facts. No emotions.
Yeah.
Just the facts.
So, let's see. There's so many interesting things. I'm just going to go over my notes really, really quick just to see if there's anything that's, anything that's, because we've covered so much and I like literally went down in my notes. I loved when Trump said, they were talking about something and I don't remember what it was, but basically Trump said, that was such a politician answer. And I loved that because again, it was one of those things of, Trump said something and basically Biden diverted it and started talking again about, there was children in cages or people dying, from Chivi, whatever it was. But basically Trump said, hey, that was a politician answer. And of course in the media, mainstream media,
I love that.
They said, it shows Trump how cold he is.
Oh, thank you, Julie.
Julie, thank you so much. Thank you. Our lifestyles are so different, but our perspectives are so similar.
I love that.
I love that. You know what's interesting, Julie? I genuinely, obviously we don't know each other that well, but I genuinely think that if you came over to our apartment, to our humble abode, to our, the 600 square foot, West Wing, if you came to our small humble abode, if you saw the way that we live, I think you would actually think that our lifestyles are very, very similar outside of drag, outside of drag is an art form that we do, and aside, from us being a gay couple, obviously as well, I think you would find that our lifestyles are very similar. I'm assuming. I don't know your lifestyle, but I think
outside of drag, we're very normal.
Yeah. And a lot of conservatives are really surprised to see just how normal, down to earth we are outside of drag, I would say despite the fact that we're atheists, which is really, really interesting, the lifestyle that we lead and the home life that we lead together is actually very similar in many ways to the kind of lifestyle that a lot of religious people have, Christian Jews as well, So it's very interesting. What I mean by that is, we don't take anything for granted, which I think, a lot of secular people do, but, religious people have kind of an appreciation for things, right? You pray before you eat, right? And the reason why you pray is, not because God is watching you and you need to be good. The reason why you pray is because you want to take a moment, you want to, give thanks to, the higher power that is providing you this fabulous meal.
Taking Shabbat.
Oh, and the taking Shabbat, right? You pray because
family is very important.
Family is really important. It's really important to
very important.
Education is extremely important. And despite this, kind of notion of a lot of religious people not being educated, that's not true. Actually, most religious people are educated, and actually, if you're religious and in the true sense of the word, where you study the Bible, you read it, etc., you're probably more educated than most because it's ingrained in you. It's part of your culture to be educated. That's part of the reason why Jews are so educated compared to other populations. Is because historically Jews, it's so important within the Jewish religion to continuously study the Bible and the Torah. And when Jews became secular, basically that education just transferred from instead of studying Torah to studying at universities. But in terms of just appreciation for the moment, taking Shabbat, respecting one another, taking things slowly, I think we model our relationship very much on the way that a lot of religious people model. And I won't go into specifics, but I think it'd be really, really interesting.
For those who don't know, we are a married couple.
We are a married couple.
Some people do ask.
Very, very interesting. Starry Night, do I think hair gel governor is going to arrest Halloween parties? I love the hair gel governor thing. I talked about his hair gel for years when he was the San Francisco mayor. So I love that. No, I don't think they're gonna arrest people for Halloween parties. But who knows? I could see them giving, I can see them giving people fines.
Yeah.
For sure. And but honestly, I don't even think there's going to be a large. I don't think there's going to be a large presence of police trying to avoid the parties. I think what we've seen is when it comes to protests, and anarchy, it's okay for people to be on the street. It's not okay for people to go, pray
Go to church,
or go to church or whatever. But it's okay for people to go and
To riot
to
and burn
riot
down
and,
things, yeah.
And I think when it comes to this, I doubt that they're gonna do a lot of things against, because most of the parties are gonna be for young people, and I doubt the governor is gonna want to go and actually, piss off a whole bunch of young people that he needs to vote for him in the future. And I think the main reason for the shutdown is economic reasons, to slow down the economy, to basically make Trump lose. And I think if Biden wins, we're gonna see economies opening up very, very quickly, speed of light, practically. And so, basically, if the parties are not going to hurt, the shutdown, I think it's going to be fine. I think it has very little to do with the actual health of the people, specifically the shutdowns that are happening. So, yeah. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah. Do you guys? The other thing that I noticed after the debate, I watched a lot of on YouTube. I watched a lot of things about commentators and whatever, and a lot of them are fact checkers. And what I found was really interesting is when they're fact checking the president and the vice president, it's always everything that they're fact checking the president. It's always false. Everything they're fact checking the vice president is always true.
Yeah.
And it's very selective what they fact check, because one of the things that he said is not a single person lost their private insurance. And it's just shocking to me that no one pushed back on this. How could the moderator not push back about this? Millions of people lost health insurance. They might have received other health insurance, but millions of people lost their private health insurance because in many states, insurance companies literally went out of business. They went bankrupt. And there's tons of counties right now where you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice between private or insurance or government public option insurance. You just have one option, and that is it. And so for all the people that have private insurance, and as a result of this of Obamacare, the rise in premiums, worse care and everything, and all these companies that had to actually shut down, go bankrupt, or they were bought, basically people lost their insurance and they had to get another insurance that was costlier and provided less services. So that was a completely false statement that is, been fact-checked time and time over, and I don't know why, at least I haven't seen anyone talk about it. I don't know if you guys have, and if you have, please correct me, because I might be wrong, but I certainly did not see it, and that's something that really bothered me. Because many counties have one option when they had 3 or 4. So obviously the people that were on these other options have lost their private health insurance, which is ridiculous. And so now when he's promising no one's going to lose their private insurance again, that sounds a lot to me like Obamacare when they said, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. We know that's not true, and if you couldn't keep your doctor, you can keep it because you had new insurance, most likely. So, another brilliant moment was when Trump asked them about fracking, because fracking was not even an issue.
Yeah.
It was not even an issue, and Pence started it in the VP debate, and Trump just pushed and pushed and pushed. And what I love is that after watching the Frank Lott's group of undeciders, he found that most of them have no idea where Biden stands on fracking, and it is really a real big issue for them. And it's also very interesting because, they talk about fracking, in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Ohio, Texas, right? But a lot of the people that work in oil fields, a lot of people that work in the fracking business are actual minorities. They're blacks, they're Hispanics, they're minorities who are living in these communities, and this is how they make their money. And when they're talking about green energy jobs that are going to overtake and will provide green energy, good paying jobs, they're not good paying jobs. People who are working in the mine fields, whether it's coal or in the oil fields, they're getting paid anywhere from $25 to $50 an hour. I think the average coal miner was making $35-40 an hour, and when the coal mines closed and they were given green energy jobs working for solar, they went from making $35 an hour to $15 an hour.
Yeah.
You can't live on that when you're used to making more than double.
Yeah.
So again, it's a falsehood to say that you can have these good paying jobs, because they're not good paying jobs. Now you might argue and say, listen, it's going to hurt your pocketbook, and it's a shame, but we have to do it for our environment or whatever. Fine, I'm willing to have that discussion. But that's a straight up lie, and again, no fact checking there, and I don't think anyone really talks about it. And I had to check to see what the average pay was for green energy jobs. That's how I know this. If I didn't think to check, I would have just taken Biden for his word. So, and again, they're talking about the HEROES Act and the latest stimulus, and it just amazes me that, and this is something that I'm actually very grateful for. Pelosi did not want to negotiate. She was very against negotiating, and this is, I think, where Trump really changed it, when he basically said, that's it, enough, we're no longer negotiating with them, because they're refusing to budge. A lot of people saw that as, attacked Trump for, not doing enough for, people in need and hurt, etc. They first offered a $1 trillion stimulus. Dems wanted $2 trillion, then they upped it to 1.3, then 1.5, then a 1.6. Finally, it was 1.8, and basically Pelosi's like, no, if it's anything under what we want, we're not going to accept it. And basically, the tables have turned now. I think most of the people, and I haven't seen statistics on this, but from what I'm gathering, the tables have turned where people are now actually angry at the Democrats for not negotiating when people are really hurting, and Republicans in good faith are upping their suggestions and are willing to compromise. So I think that was brilliant, because it changes the narratives from Republicans are not doing anything to help you to Democrats are now not doing anything to help you. And if you're Black or Hispanic and you're really relying on this stimulus, you would be pissed now, because you're like, hello, fine, you're not getting everything you wanted, but it's pretty darn close. Just take it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really great. Another interesting point, and I don't know if people noticed it so much in this last debate, but first the three debates that Trump had with Hillary Clinton, the town hall that he's had, the first debate, and now the second debate this year. Every single one of these debates, what I'm noticing is the moderators literally are not letting Trump speak, which is really interesting, because he still ends up speaking more than his opponents. And that just shows you again how he pushes hard to make himself sound. But over and over and over again, every time Trump wanted to rebuttal Biden, the moderator said, sir, we have to move on. I have another question. We have to move on. And he was like, well, ask him about fracking. No, I'm not going to ask him. We're going to move on. We're going to move on. Ask him about the cages. No, we're moving on. We're moving on. But he stood his ground, and he pushed hard, and he still got his points across. What was interesting is literally every single time, I don't think there was one time that she did not let Biden respond. So literally every single time that Biden wanted to respond, she would let him. Almost every single time that Trump wanted to respond, she would say, we have to move on. So just an interesting point that I noticed that really got my blood boiling.
I'd say that Biden was given the last word.
On several occasions, over and over again, yes. And this is why Trump has to come out hard, because he already knows this. He's already experienced this before. So this is why, and that's why I appreciate what he's doing. The other thing that really kind of pissed me off, this whole like, oh, come on, people, come on. This is the number one deflecting, attempt of basically deflecting every attack that Trump, pushed towards him.
Yeah.
Instead of answering on any substance, instead of pushing back against Trump, because he couldn't. He literally couldn't. Trump
All he could say was, come on.
Come on. 220,000 people died. Come on. And it's like, let's not talk about why they died, because that's gonna make the Democrats not look good. It's gonna make Biden seem bad. Let's not talk about why so many people died. Let's just say, oh, come on, because it basically just immediately neutralizes the conversation, dismisses anything that the opposing side has to say, and just makes it seem like, oh, whatever you have to say, it's ridiculous. And so I don't know how people viewed that at home. That's something that really pissed me off, because I'm literally watching and I'm just saying, just answer one question, Joe. Just one question, instead of deflecting with this, oh, come on.
I loved, Taylor, what you said. My mom wanted to, said, thank goodness this is not a drinking game. That's hilarious. A good one,
yes.
Yeah, thank goodness it wasn't a drinking game, right?
Yes. Let's see. It was essential. And no one. Wouldn't you agree that it was essential? Screw Americans. Not sure I understand the comment. Sorry, Ed. I don't think I understand the comment. I might be reading it wrong.
I think he's replying.
Oh, he's replying to Ting Shu. Okay, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. So yeah, I thought that was really, really interesting. Obviously, the minimum wage in Seattle, the minimum wage conversation is also ridiculous. I thought Trump gave an incredible answer when he said, "Listen, I'm fine with the $15 minimum wage. A different, you know, every state has to do its own thing. Yeah,
has their own thing. And I mean, we have traveled all over America, and it is completely different in every state. And you just, I mean, that's a whole nother topic in itself.
Yes. Oh my God, realities and perspectives. Thank you so much. That's such a huge compliment. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are a triple threat, talented, smart, and beautiful. Thank you. Wow, that's a huge compliment. I really appreciate it.
Throw it, Ariel.
Yeah, I love it. So that was something that was really kind of, really bothersome to me. A lot, just like watching all of this. Yes, okay. So we've been almost 2 hours, almost done. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, regarding minimum wage. So I thought Trump gave an incredible answer. And Biden, again, no answer. Basically his answer is, yes, I support minimum wage of $15. That was the answer. But, I think Trump actually really showed nuance and understanding of economics because, we've been to Oklahoma, we've been to pretty much almost every state in America, yeah.
Except North Dakota.
Right, and in both Dakotas, I think
both.
But basically, what we know is when we go to New York, the cost of living in New York is so much higher than the cost of living.
Hi, Dax from
somewhere
UK.
else. Hi, Dax. How exciting!
I think this is the first UK live person that we've had.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Welcome. So exciting.
Very, very cool. Well, Dax, we're about to wrap up our live here. Oh, Jenny. Thank you, Jenny.
Whoa, Jenny! Oh my goodness! Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jenny. Good thing that wasn't Trump's speech. Lol. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate your perspective. Oh,
thank you for
Jenny,
listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. It's so fun to know that people care, and it's also when you said, and when you live in such a liberal state, and we lived in California. I used to live in New York. Then we lived in Oregon.
We lived in Hawaii, Alaska,
right?
All over the place.
But when you live in such a liberal place, right? And I grew up in the Bay Area, and you have a lot of liberal friends. Sometimes you just wonder, am I crazy? Are people not seeing what I'm seeing? What is happening here? And it's just so nice that we have this community where no, we're not crazy, and people are seeing this as well. And not only that, the fact that people appreciate the perspectives, the fact that people find something interesting in what we have to say. That means.
And
so
you
much
live in
to us.
Hawaii and Portland too? Twinsies.
Twinsies, yes. Don't live in Connecticut. I
Really?
know.
I've always wanted to live in Connecticut. The fall, the beauty there. I love fall season.
Yes. Yeah.
So I heard Connecticut has gorgeous, gorgeous falls.
By the way, I just want to say, I think this is going to be one of the last points that I make regarding this debate, because I think that's actually something really important. When they talked about immigration and they talked about asylum seekers, and Biden said, American law requires that, when people come to this country, and they seek asylum, they're supposed to seek asylum and we're supposed to, grant them and start the process, etc. What he failed to mention, and what I think is so angering to me, that no one, again, pushes back when does interviews and during this debate, is that, yes, it's not just American law. Every country, when people show up at your doorstep and they ask asylum, you have to grant them the process of getting asylum if they, if you find that they really need it and deserve it. And so what happened with the debate specifically, and what I was so angry is that people don't realize that when you're an asylum seeker, you don't have a choice of where you want to go. When you're fleeing a country for your safety, you know, your choice is the very first, literally the first safe country that you arrive. That's where you're supposed to seek asylum. You don't get a choice to say, hey, you know, I'm, you know, seeking asylum, and so I'm just gonna go, you know, to this country because I want to live there, or this country. Literally the first country that will take you, or the first country that you arrive at. And most of these asylum seekers are coming from, you know, Venezuela, by the way, which is a very socialist country, right? Cuba, socialist country. A lot of other Ecuador, which I don't know if I would call it socialist, but very social leaning in that sense. And so when you have, you know, these people are coming, they're literally coming through multiple different countries. They're crossing multiple borders to get to the US. And they're arriving at multiple different countries who are safe. And that's where they're supposed to seek asylum. Yeah. And so this is part of the reason why they're crossing the border illegally. And why, you know, this is something that I think Pence said. I don't know if Biden said it in yesterday's debate, but there's a system. If you want to seek asylum, you don't break the law. You want a country to come and accept you. You want to have a home in this country. You want this country to come, provide you a safe harbor, a safe place. You want them to take care of you when you arrive here, right? Because when you come and seek asylum, you're going to be taking up a lot of governmental resources, you know, before you get on your feet. You need to respect that country. And so if you want to get asylum, walk through the door. Walk through the big welcome open gates that the U.S. has in many different locations and seek asylum there. Don't cross the border illegally and then seek asylum, because that just shows complete and utter disrespect. You're literally spitting at the face of the U.S. that's given you this amazing home. Yeah. So clearly, if you're going to break the law when you get here, instead of going through the system, going through you know, the open doors that the U.S. has at its borders, if you're not going to do that, why should we grant you asylum? Right? Like, it just makes no sense to me. Yep. And again, it's not that I don't care if someone's suffering or fleeing for their lives or whatever. On the contrary, I do. Yeah. That's why I want you to be registered. I want you to come through the main door, and I want you to go through the process legally. Because if you're going to be a part of our society, you know, and you want to be respected, and you want to be helped from your dire situation, I want my country to be respected. I want my tax dollars to be respected. I want my president and the laws that I follow, I want them to be respected as well. Yeah. Well, I came here as an immigrant. I followed the law. Yeah. So, you know, this is, I think, something that's I really wish, you know, more people understood and more people talked about. I really, really do. You know, and this is why so many people who are, you know, coming here, and why Democrats are actually really interested in having more people come here illegally, because it covers them in case the black community turns on them and doesn't and starts voting, you know, in a non-monolithic way that they've been voting so far. Yeah. But also because a lot of these people, you know, that are coming through the border are not necessarily the people who care about the U.S. They just want the opportunities. And so for Dems, it's very easy because, hey, we'll give you everything you want, just vote for us. And for a lot of these people, they're like, yes, sweet, okay, we'll take it. We'll vote for you. Why not? Right? Exactly. So I think that's something that's really, really interesting. And I think one of the biggest kind of, you know, points that Trump really stuck to Biden is when he said, you know, you had 8 years, you know, or he had 8 years, he did nothing except build cages. And I think on a subconscious level, that is going to remain in people's minds for a long, long time, because that, again, diffuses the argument of immigration. It diffuses this argument of, we're good for immigration, you're bad for immigration. Because now people who are on the defense, people who hate Trump but don't like Biden, but they were like, at least Biden's good in this. Now, you know, a certain amount of people, I don't know how big, but a certain amount of people are going to say, you know what, I hate Trump, but now I'm realizing this guy is not better either. I'm going to sit this one out or vote for a third party, which, you know, it's definitely going to help Trump.
Oh, I mean, the fact that he's been in politics for 47 years.
Yeah, I mean,
what has he done? 47 years.
Yes. Okay. Oh, yes. Do you guys remember when Biden was saying something like, we need better, you know, I'm going to create, Biden was saying, you know, pick me and I'm going to create better economic opportunity, better education, better healthcare, better access to schooling, better access to opportunity to borrow money, to start businesses.
Yeah.
Here's the kicker.
Yeah, I love this.
Every single one of those things that Biden has named, Trump has already accomplished. Yeah. So, Biden had 8 years in which during those 8 years, small businesses did not increase. People did not have better opportunities for schooling. People did not have better opportunities to borrow money. If anything, people lost money.
Yeah.
Literally lost money. When you take inflation into account, people lost money, and specifically the Black community lost about $900 a year. Yeah. So whereas with Trump, they made money. So it's really interesting because when he's talking about better economic opportunity zones, hello,
Yeah.
we're helping mostly distressed
opportunity zones, school choice.
School choice regarding education.
Yeah.
Exactly. And by the way, first Black president, why couldn't you help HBCUs? Why couldn't you help historic Black colleges? Why was it Trump, the biggest racist in the world, that provides them long-term funding more than what they've actually asked for? More than what they've actually asked for, he's provided them. So education for everyone is actually obviously helped. Economic opportunity, again, opportunity zones.
Yeah.
The fact that more people were working in the U.S. than pretty much any time before, except the 1950s, during the more women working during the Trump administration than any time before, except the 1950s, when men were shipped out to the Korean War.
We talked about that.
In
our Part 2 Women's podcast.
Yeah, we talked about that in our Women's Part 2 podcast. Highly recommended. One of my favorite podcasts that we've done. So it's just incredible. And then access to schooling. Democrats are against school choice.
Yeah.
What is more racist than to tell a Black parent, specifically Black mother, because 73% of Black homes are single parent, fatherless homes. Hi, Lady Leo. Hi. So glad you were able to catch us right close to the end, but so glad you were able to make it. So specifically for Black mothers who are living in ghetto conditions, right? They're living in poor neighborhoods, really ghetto conditions, and basically they're forced to go and send their children to really crappy schools. Meanwhile, these white suburban women and families who are concerned about racism and about Trump being racist, they're sending their children to good schools in white neighborhoods. And what Trump is saying is, hey, let's give people school choice.
Yeah.
Let's allow these Black mothers to choose where they want to send their children. Do they want to send them to the school in their neighborhood, the school that's a 1 or a 2, or do they want to send it to another school that's rated a 9 or a 10?
Yeah.
Where their children can have better choices.
Yeah.
And that's why school vouchers make such a huge deal, which is something that Trump is really pushing and Republicans support. And school choice really, really makes a difference. That is why it's such a big difference. And again, something that Democrats oppose. So when he's talking about better schooling, Americans actually got worse schooling under the Obama administration than they did under Trump.
Yeah.
So again, economic opportunity, education, healthcare. We all know that Obamacare was a disaster. The one thing that people like to talk about is pre-existing conditions and the fact that you can stay on your parents' insurance up until the age of 26. That's really dandy. That's really, really wonderful. But the other 20,000+ pages that were part of this bill, they have nothing to do with it. And that's why this bill was so unpopular when it was passed, because, it just lowered premiums, worse services, it was horrible. And so obviously you were not able to provide better access to healthcare. That's for sure. Even though more people are insured, that's true. But a lot of the people that were already insured lost a lot of the access that they've had. So that's not true. And I think actually Trump did a wonderful job by being able to pass and eliminate the mandate that requires you, again, to pay for really crappy healthcare.
Yeah.
If you either pay for this crappy healthcare or you pay for not paying for crappy healthcare. Either way, you're paying. So and of course, borrow money to start businesses. Again, if you listen to our what has Trump done for the Black community, what has Trump done for minorities in general, what has Trump done for women, what has Trump done for Jews, what has Trump done, all of these things, literally, and what has Trump done for Americans in general, literally, the small business index had the highest satisfaction rating on record, the highest ever on record since they started actually measuring it. Again, even during Chivi, for the new people, Chivi is what we use for the pandemic. We can't say the word because otherwise we get flagged. But even under Chivi, a small business index was almost as high as the record number. And most people are very optimistic about what's going to happen if the Trump administration is able to get a second term when it comes to small businesses. So this idea that Biden is somehow going to help, create more businesses and allow people to borrow more money, that's not the case. That wasn't the case during the 8 years that he was a vice president. That wasn't the case. He's done literally nothing. I mean, literally nothing for small businesses during his 47 years in office. And now he's going to do something. And I think Trump made such a great job at just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and saying, no, you're talking about doing this. Why didn't you do this earlier?
Yeah.
Just brilliant. So
8 years in a presidency and 47 years in politics.
Yes, and it's just amazing. And
now he's gonna do something.
Yeah, right?
And now he's gonna do something.
I just thought this because I'm sure this was one of the I think one of those sentences or lines that's really going to be remembered because it was really well said and very well rehearsed. We need better economic opportunities, education, healthcare, access to schooling, opportunity to borrow money, to start businesses. All of these things that he said were so good. And, that's why I really wanted to address it because Trump already did it, Joe.
Yeah.
Sit down. Sit down, buddy, because, it's already done. Check. And, if he gets elected again, we're going to get back there again.
Yeah.
So, we talked about the crime bill and how that created systemic racism that now Biden riles against, right, and blames Trump for. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let's see. I loved when Trump said, "I ran because of you."
Yeah,
politician. I loved it.
I ran because of you.
Really reminded a lot of people who were Obama-Biden supporters. It really reminded a lot of people of why they voted for Trump in the first place.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think prior to Chivi, Trump was basically on pace to get reelected. I mean, let's be honest. He was on pace to get reelected. And I think what was really, really, really wonderful was that by doing this, he was able to turn it around and flip it and say, hey, everyone, listen, Chivi sucks, obviously. You don't think I did a good job. I get it. But think about all the other things. This is one issue. It's a huge issue, incredibly important issue. But we're almost there. And this is why Trump says, just a few more weeks. A few more weeks, we'll get a cure. A few more weeks, we'll get a cure. He's been saying it for months. But the reason why he's saying this is because he wants people to know and to think, hey,
there's hope.
There's hope. We're just around the corner. We're just around the corner. And then once we get over this, all of the other things that you voted for me are still there.
Yeah.
All of my promises I've kept.
Yeah.
So, you might be angry at me about this, but think of all the other reasons why you voted for me in the first place and all of the amazing things that I've accomplished for you as a result of it. And I think that was really good that he said, I ran because of you and Obama. And I think for a lot of people, again, in the back of their mind, consciously or subconsciously, this is going to ring a bell. So I thought that was
I loved it.
Brilliant.
It was really great.
And of course, we talk about this all the time. When Biden says, reputation of honor and telling the truth, this is just literally, it just surprises me because I don't think literally one person asked him about his, not one person has asked him about his plagiarism, the reasons why he had to drop out, both times he ran for president, and this is just a constant theme with Biden when it comes to plagiarizing and straight up lying, right? Straight up lying.
I love what what you wrote.
Do people forget that Biden dropped out of the presidential race in 1988 because of plagiarism? Exactly, Hannah. Yes, that is exactly what we're talking about. Yes.
It was all swept under the rug.
It was also not one person is asking him.
Yeah.
So, and it's so smart of him because I think this idea, Biden has a very bad kind of a very bad legacy of being a liar, of not being someone you could trust. So for him to come out as this, old, Grandpa Uncle Joe,
Grandpa Uncle Joe,
love you, the soul of the nation,
and
blah blah
fighting
blah.
for the soul of the nation. He's so ethical, so moral.
He's so ethical and moral, and now we're finding out, no, you're not ethical. Your son is not ethical. Your dealings with your son are not ethical.
Team,
You got
come
crazy
on,
rich.
man. I'm Joe.
Come on, exactly. Yes, come on, man. Exactly. Exactly. So it's just, you know, that got my blood boiling. Every time I hear him say, we're fighting for the soul of the nation, my blood is literally like coming up and I'm just like, "Ugh," you know. No one, you know, no one calls him out on it. No one. I think except Trump. And so I'm really grateful because that narrative is now more broken. When people say, I can't figure out, you know, if he's for or against tracking. I can't, you know, when people say, I don't believe him when he says he's not going to raise my taxes. How is he going to repeal Trump's tax cuts but not raise my taxes? I don't believe him because he doesn't explain the plan. You know, so even though they might think, hey, I still like the character of Biden more, all of these things, again, it's all subconscious. And I think that's why this was so brilliant, because all of these things do a lot of work on a subconscious level, and it's either going to make people who don't like Trump and didn't like Biden, but now are gonna not like him even more, either vote for third parties, or it's gonna make a lot of undecideds who were leaning towards Biden, but not sure. Now, a large portion of them will probably go back to Trump, or again are undecided, and he just neutralized, you know, this talking point. Again, not fully, but quite a bit, and I think he did a fantastic job there.
Ed, I like what you wrote when you said Biden simply speaks like a politician, going for the emotions without substance behind it. Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
It's all it's all rehearsed, and none of it came off as, you know, people say, oh, he seemed genuine. It doesn't seem genuine to me at all. It didn't seem genuine to me the first debate. It doesn't seem genuine to me now because it's so rehearsed. You know, that's the only way that he could actually talk. That's the only way that he can get any point across, is by having these rehearsed lines. And so, you know, I really love it because during the 60-minute interview, the interviewer, you know, Trump said to the interviewer, you know, where was, you know, Biden these past 5 days? Like he's, you know, God, he's hiding in the basement. And the interviewer is like, well, he's prepping for the debate. And Trump is like, he needs 5 days to prep for the debate? 5 days, really? Like that's why he hasn't been out of the basement? And the answer is yes, he needs 5 days because A, he's not mentally all there, you know, for whatever reason. So I don't think his memory is so good. So he literally needs the time to practice word for word what he's gonna say and have these like canned answers. Whereas Trump did not need the 5 days, and it really showed. It really, really did. So I thought that was incredible. You know, and again, I really recommend for everyone to watch the video that he dropped, because I think 60 Minutes is also going to air it, but it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to air it now, since Trump dropped the unedited version, which, by the way, CNN said is not ethical. So I find it's very interesting, because literally from the moment the interviewer came to Trump, she's like, are you ready for the tough questions? And then she's just fighting him, just not letting go. And Trump is like, hey, can we talk about other things? And she's like, no. And, you know, so that was ethical, to just, you know, go head first, really fight with Trump, super softball questions for Biden. You know, and Trump knew that they're going to edit it to make him seem bad. So he preemptively released it early, and I'm so glad he did. So glad he did. Let's see. Oh, I loved it when Trump was like talking about the race. And the moderator's like, well, what can you do so that people don't think you're racist? And I really loved Trump's answer, because that was a real good answer. I mean, that was just, you know, it was genuine and it was really good. He said, I don't know. I literally don't know what else I can say or do to make people understand that I'm not racist. I've denounced, you know, I've already denounced so many times, you know, white supremacy, KKK, you know, Duke, like so many people have been denounced. What else can I do? And I've already done all these amazing things, and this is something that I'm so happy about this last debate, because the previous debate, Trump did not list any of his accomplishments. He just went on the attack. And this debate, he listed a lot of his accomplishments. And this was a brilliant moment where he said, I don't know what else to do. I literally don't know what else to do, because you guys are hammering me on this all the time. That's all you guys want to talk about. And you don't cover any of the good things that I've done. But here's all the good things I've already done. And he's listing literally every single one. You know, and I thought that was, again, really brilliant. And it puts, you know, it kind of makes the president, you know, it makes you feel for him. It really makes you feel for him. So I thought that was great. That was really, really, really brilliant. And And let's see. I think that's basically it. Yeah. Oh, that's when Trump said you got to talk them into it. When when Biden said, well, we had a Republican, Senate, whatever, which is ridiculous. A Republican Congress, Republican Senate. That's why I wasn't able to accomplish anything. That is a joke. So if the only way you're going to accomplish something is if you have both chambers in power, that means that you have no power. So literally, when Biden said that one sentence, to me, that just completely spelled, I am a puppet. I am beholden to the radical wing of my party because I am not going to be able to do anything without them okaying this or pushing me to do it.
Yeah.
Because if he was having a Republican, listen, Trump has a Democratic Congress. He's still trying to work with them. He's not able to do everything he wants to do, but he's doing it, right? Like that's your job. So clearly, Biden is not up for the job. That's what I got from this, and I'm wondering if anyone else got the same feeling, the same idea.
Yeah.
So I just, this is really, really, really interesting. Let's see. Doing a great job asking question. Oh yeah, and I think that's basically it. I thought his answer on climate change was really, really wonderful as well. Trump's answer on climate change, because basically he said, listen, it doesn't matter if I believe in climate change or not. It really doesn't matter. What matters are the results. Trump said, my climate is changing. I don't think human activity is, having to do with this or not. But ultimately, who cares? Who cares if Trump believes in climate change? I don't care. I just want to see the results. And the results are everything that he listed is true. That's why none of that was fact-checked, because all of that was true. We have cleaner air, lower CO2 emissions. Everything he said about China, everything he said about India, about Russia, it's all true. And that's why he withdrew. And what's interesting is, again, after he withdrew from the Paris Accord, the U.S. was the only country that lowered their CO2 emissions. All the world countries that were part of the accord were not able to do it, yet the U.S. who actually did do it, and the U.S. that actually that actually took itself out of the accord, were actually able to do it.
Yeah.
So to me, it's amazing that we're able to do it without having to give up jobs, without having to give up insane amounts of money, without having to, without having to kneel ourselves in front of this like huge bureaucratic mess that is the Paris Accord Agreement. We were able to do it on our own. And while doing all of this, having cleaner air, lower CO2 emissions and everything, we're energy independent.
Yeah.
Doing all of this. And for all the people that don't like, the drilling in the US, that don't like fracking, all of these things, I just have to say one thing. If you're truly an environmentalist, like really and truly in your heart an environmentalist, I can understand why you would be angry for all of these things to happen in the US. But here's what you have to realize. It's going to happen somewhere. So it's either going to happen in the US, where we have extremely tough regulations, very environmentally supportive regulations, or it's going to happen in countries like Russia, in countries like Venezuela, in countries in the Middle East, where they have little to zero regulations when it comes to environmental protection. So personally, I would rather get our oil from the US. I would rather drill here in the US. And if it does hurt the local environment, as sad as it is, since we are a global planet, and since anything that happens environmentally in one area affects everything in another area, I'd rather it happen here and have lesser effect on the globe in general than having it done in another country. So if you're a real environmentalist, you should be grateful to Trump that we're energy independent. You should be grateful to Trump that we're the largest producer and exporter of oil today. That is what, those are the things that people should be grateful about, that, they're trying to turn it into some kind of a negative, when in reality, it's nothing but a positive. So, I thought he did a great job asking the questions that the moderator didn't. He did a great job. And just like Pence did a great job, answering and pushing back against Camilla when the moderator wouldn't, he did a great job asking questions that the moderator would not. So, okay. One more thing before we go, I also wanted to talk about, because this is something that specifically we were asked to talk about. And David, I hope you're still with us, David, because this, whatever Michael Savage said about Rush Limbaugh. I don't know if you guys know or not, but basically Rush Limbaugh, everyone knows, has terminal cancer, and he came out on his radio show, and for a few brief moments, he talked about his diagnosis, and he said, "Listen, it's really sad, because you're realizing that the days when I'm not gonna have to face my dooming death are over. Basically, every day I'm now facing my death, and things are not moving in the right direction, unfortunately." And Michael Savage tweeted something like, "Those were the worst 15 minutes on radio. Get over yourself. Stop talking about it." And that was just, I think, in many ways disgusting. Really, really, really disgusting. I was so pleased to see so many other people actually come in the defense of Rush Limbaugh. And let's not forget, Rush Limbaugh has been doing this now for, I think, over like 30 years that he's been on air.
Gosh,
right?
Forever,
over 30 years. So, he has a massive following. Yeah, that people really care and love him. And especially since he received, the Purple Heart, during the last address of the Union. A lot of people know about this now. And so I think it's only fair for him to address, and especially I think his show, I don't remember, it's like a couple of hours long. I think it's only fair to, take 15 minutes and address and let your, viewers know that, hey, this 30-year legacy that we've been doing and, spending, time together for all these years, unfortunately, it's coming to an end. And he's preparing his following, and I think that's very beautiful. And also, I think it's really encouraging for a lot of other people who are facing the same issues and have no one to talk to. And now they're being able to see, this public figure who, is continuing his life, continuing his life's work, continuing his life's mission, is trying to find happiness on the everyday level, and is trying to literally, do the best that he can. And I think it's very encouraging to a lot of sick people. It was encouraging for me to listen to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's very fascinating that in the beginning, when Trump was first elected, all of the liberals were saying, like, that's it, we're going to lose all of our rights, gay rights are going to be taken away, all of this racism, all of this destruction, it's the end of the world. But in reality...
Oh my God, Ed, thank you so much. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Ed. Really appreciate it.
Tossing that paper should be your signature move. That and that huge champagne glass and giving us a Zoom meeting. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
we will
Thank you.
We will make the Zoom meeting happen. Don't know how or what, but we will make it happen.
We will make it happen.
It will be definitely after the election.
Yes. It'll definitely be after. But we will definitely make it happen for sure. And thank you. I think I like it. I really enjoy tossing the paper, so it will become maybe a signature move. I really like it.
That are the cards.
Yeah, that are the cards, exactly. Yes, so.
Well, I think on that note, Ed, I think we have, this is the longest live that we have done.
Almost 3 hours.
Almost 3 hours.
It was so much fun. I think we haven't done it in a couple of weeks now, and it was just so much fun to spend the time with you. So for all of you that stayed, the whole, almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. This was so much fun.
Thank you for your support. Thank you for your likes, your interaction, your comments.
For the people that joined us, at the end, for the people that joined us earlier and then couldn't stay, and are gonna rewatch this later, just say thank you. Thank you. This was literally just fun. Like, I think I literally had a blast. So, we are gonna have one more live before the final, before the election. And so I can't wait to talk to all of you guys. It's going to be really interesting to see. I think the last debate was amazing, obviously, as we talked about.
That's it. We only have a week. Holy moly.
Just a week. And
then we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe we won't.
It's going to be interesting to see what kind of, how much this debate will help Trump. Because ratings-wise, 4 million people watched, the previous debate. This debate was watched by 55 million people, so 20 million people less. So, unfortunately, less people are going to see.
I would also be interested in if people watch it all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Because I'll admit, the first part of it was kind of boring. So, it was the second half that really like
Yeah, and
really
because
was
basically,
the depth of it.
you know, the first half was basically just talking about Shivi. It was
Yeah.
Shivi, healthcare, which was related to Shivi.
Yeah.
And then once they moved on to other things, it became interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I you know, if you haven't watched it, I really recommend watching the debate. I'm sure most of the people watching here watched it. And if you haven't watched the 60-minute clip that Trump released, I also recommend watching it because it was really interesting to see.
Oh, and also too, quick little updates. I am going to be coming out with a 2-year follow-up to my walkaway video. A lot of you guys have been asking me to do that. So I think, you know, it's very appropriate to do it now before the election, a 2-year anniversary follow-up with my walkaway video. Also too, 200,000 views.
Yes!
On my
Oh my
video.
gosh, 200,000 views, that's incredible.
I did a 1-year follow-up, and I think in that 1-year follow-up I had like 16,000 views. So like, you know, in the second year getting to 200,000, I mean, that's just
amazing. That's
absolutely humbled and grateful for all of your support in that. So that will also be coming out next week.
Yeah, we wanted, Zane wanted to actually record it earlier, but again,
I know.
with our dog, we literally, like, all we did was just, that was 100% of our attention.
Our baby.
Our baby, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
really, you know, we don't have any children of our own yet. You know, hopefully we will soon, but we don't have any children of our own, and so our fur babies really are our babies, you know. And again, he's 17, and
Yeah.
you know, I remember when I got him, he was this, you know, again, he was a rescue as well, and really in terrible shape, and
Yeah.
you know, so watching him from there to flourishing and becoming this gorgeous, you know,
Mhm.
dog with this immense personality to now, you know, becoming sicker and older again, it's heartbreaking. And so we were just trying to provide him with as much comfort as possible. And unfortunately,
just love him so much.
you know, when we work or when we do drag, you know, we aren't able to give him as much attention.
Yeah.
And when he's sick, it really has an effect on him.
Yeah.
So, you know, hopefully now we'll get some more help.
Yeah.
You know, thank you for my sister for being there and helping. And yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you guys. Well, Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy your guys' weekend, and we'll see you in our next live.
We'll see you in our next live. See you next Friday.
Okay, bye, guys.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat
Thank you
Shalom.
guys so much. Mwah. Until next time.